And she is, of course, our guest concierge. How are you doing, guest concierge?
You know, I woke up this morning, I thought the sun is out again. Aren't we lucky? I mean, it's just so beautiful.
It is, it is. I like your new top. Hello, Stanford Erickson.
Is the sun out?
And we have, of course, my co-host, the Vice Mayor of the Airwaves. A round of applause for all of Mr. David Walsh. All right.
Thank you.
Of course, Stanford is former White House correspondent. He wanted us to play this speech by Trump. If it gets on a little too, is it
It's
long?
45 minutes.
Oh my word. Well, we'll play a wee little bit of it. Here we go, and then we'll talk about this. This, of course, is his speech on
Foreign affairs,
Okay.
international trade.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and thank you to the Center for National Interest for honoring me with this invitation. It truly is a great honor. I'd like to talk today about how to develop a new foreign policy direction for our country, one that replaces randomness with purpose, ideology with strategy, and chaos with peace. It's time to shake the rust off America's foreign policy. It's time to invite new voices and new visions into the fold, something we have to do.
Yeah.
The direction I will outline today will also return us
Got himself a
to a
speechwriter,
timeless
huh?
principle. My foreign policy will always put the interests of the American people and American security above all else. Has to be first. Has to be.
Now, first of all, we'll go along through this. We'll play little tidbits of it. He is sounding, finally, and if Shane, if you don't mind, give us the big audience applause, if you have that handy. The big audience applause. He finally is sounding presidential.
So I only got the small audience applause? Is that what
You're only the vice mayor of the Airways.
No,
I mean, shoot.
compared to the president.
You've got this goofball that's the mayor of the Airways, and you're only a vice mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know, my concern is, were those really his words? You know,
Yes.
he was watching, you think so?
Look at John F. What's the one with John F. Kennedy we always play here?
Oh, you mean? And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Now we know he did.
Ted Sorensen
didn't write
wrote that.
those.
Ted Sorensen wrote
You
that.
know him?
I met Ted Sorensen. He was the speechwriter for JFK. He's a lawyer, a brilliant writer. But I've been a speechwriter for 10 years. You only, if you're a good speechwriter, you only can write what the person thinks and says. And you write as well as they can think and say.
And Ted Sorensen never wrote anything.
And he never read anything after
other than
that.
So,
But that's,
so he was writing what Kennedy had hashed over with him.
hashed
Yes.
over, but also how he thinks, because it's like Dr. Spock. When you're a speechwriter, you get into their subconscious almost, and you know how they think. It's a weird thing.
Yes.
When I was writing for women, I was sitting there acting like a woman. I mean, because
You have to get into it.
you have to get into their head. And so whoever wrote it, they could only write what and he approved it too, but he only could get into their mind.
And
That's
I'm
what,
not so sure this is something that you can manipulate intellectually. For instance, if I were to be candid in my life, I've sat there with rocket scientists, literally, and had words spew forth out of my mouth that
absolutely.
perhaps I have heard once, and I'm going, where did that language come from? And I think when I'm in close proximity, the people are broadcasting. And I think we know so very little about connection.
Yes.
And how people alter. Like, for instance, you take one person in this assemblage here today, and you take one out, the entire recipe changes within the room.
Absolutely.
I was describing someone the other day, and I said, she has Seckle.
What's the word?
Seckle.
And what does it mean?
You don't know what it means?
No, I don't know what Seckle means.
It's a Jewish expression, and it's an understanding, simpatico. It's like awareness. It's
What a
just
beautiful
all
word.
around. It's all around word. And the person I was speaking to was a Jew, and I said, it just came out of me. I don't know why it did, And he said, I said, I haven't said that word in 20 years.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he said, I haven't heard it in 20 years.
Yeah, you have an amazing, you in a glib way, you things spew out of your mouth on the air and off the air, and it amazes me sometimes your command of the English language, and where's it, it happens. But we are all broadcasting, it seems, and I do think that I remember I was up to Tallahassee a year and a half ago, visiting with the governor, and then I got to go over to my friend's son. I knew this little kid when he was a little 2-year-old, was learning how to flush the toilet. Now he works for a think tank up there. And I walk into the head of the think tank, was sitting on the porch smoking a cigar. He's a young, handsome man of about 33. I don't even remember his name, but he writes all these books. He says, well, now the in thing is that the very wealthy, now it's the thing to pay someone like him to write the book. But he has to go in and get their pulse, spend enough time with intimately with them, and then he can reflect that in the book, which is disenchanting to me at once, because when I was reading, I was at the Books A Million out there at the one, not the one just went out of business, the
Yes.
one, but they're still in business and they're expanding the one in
The mall.
Mall, and yeah, but they're expanding, and I was reading Trump's book, and I was at once thinking, okay, is this him, and I'm hopeful it is, because it sounds like him. It's got that edge. But I don't know if he hired someone did he put it into a microphone and then someone read it and typed it out, transcribed it?
He probably had someone help him write it, but I've done this for people, and I've written speeches for 10 years for people, and I write as well as they think. I change. My problem is when I've written speeches for geniuses. Geniuses don't think in a linear fashion. Geniuses do elliptical. And so when you write for a genius, I can't get there sometimes. But for most
She's pointing at me. Why? Oh, my genius? I'll take it.
Well, you have a mind that goes loop the loop, and it's more difficult for writing for that kind of mind. But I can write for I talk to someone for a little while, and I can tell you almost what they're going to say on almost any topic. I don't know how I can do that. I can just do that.
You're perceptive.
Well, good speech writers are like that.
Well, you've cultivated that talent too.
Yes.
So now the thing is, do we have a raw talent? For instance, I started writing melodies when I was 14. I mean, I can write a melody about anything. We all know that. I just put on my tie. It's yellow today. I'd like to walk along happy and gay. Whatever. And they just come. So now, was that essential gifting, or was it because I focused in on it? I can't play golf. I don't play golf. I've had every opportunity of having an affluent childhood to play golf. I don't play golf well, so I don't play golf. If there's something you don't do well, you don't do it. So is there a natural proclivity, or do we cultivate it?
Well, we all have natural talents. Everybody is gifted in some way, and you have to concentrate on that one gift so you can expand it.
Now, the one thing about Trump is I was just listening to this little bit of a speech we were playing. It kind of feels like it's almost like, hooray. It's my intelligent billionaire next door neighbor who's been bright enough to put some teams together to create success, which is what I think he will do. And every time I wanted to love this guy, he says something stupid, There you go and spoil it all by saying something stupid. And once again, it's you. But
We gotta start playing that, yeah.
see if you can find that song.
That's exactly right.
You just get right up, you're all excited. He's going to go in and clobber Washington, and then he says something else.
Yeah, he's just like my wife, I love her, however, every once in a while. I hope she's not listening.
No sex for a week for you, boy.
See what comes out of your mouth really surprises you, doesn't it?
David, what do you think? What do you think of Trump? What's your visceral reaction to Trump?
Well, I think that he's very passionate about anything that he does. And people that are passionate sometimes go off the rails because they get so involved in their thought about what can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like what did Robert Kennedy say? What did he say? I see things that should be.
Some people see things that are not. I see things that are not, and ask why not, or
Yes,
something like
yes,
that.
yes.
How does it go?
Yes, he was quoting
Someone find that quote and get it to me, text it to me today at 473-7777, and I'll give you a $25 gift certificate to go to CJ Cannon's, the restaurant with a beautiful panoramic view out of Bureau's Airport. 473-7777.
Yeah,
I think Robert Kennedy said that.
It's Robert.
Robert
yeah.
Kennedy
Oh, not
said that.
okay. Not
Robert
JFK.
Kennedy said, but I think he was quoting Emerson or someone. But that's exactly I studied all the Kennedys. Robert Kennedy, and I almost worked for Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy was the most honorable of all the Kennedys. The father was terrible, but Robert Kennedy was.
No, wait. You glibly say the father was terrible.
Well,
Why? He was unbelievable.
He
He used to meet right down here with Gloria Swanson for their little trysts, you know.
Yes, when he was
You know, when
married.
you're headed towards Fort Pierce on the right, you see that up on the hill. There's an
That's
antique shop.
not the only tryst he ever had.
Oh, I know.
That was just one on the train stop.
Why is it that men that have great success like Kennedy and Clinton are very sexual? Sometimes I wonder, I would have been more. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody, but I didn't seduce all these women like these guys. Maybe there's something to it.
Well, it's testosterone. They say that a lot of leaders have a lot of testosterone.
I think it is true. It's the nature of the beast.
It
They're
is.
all womenizers.
But I want to know this really.
Mhm.
Do women actually, now see, women won't tell you how they really feel because they don't want to give up the power, but are women actually attracted to that? Almost when like, I'd like to take you home and put you over my knee and then make love to you for 2 hours. Oh! You know, and they're going, oh, I secretly would like it if you would do that to me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? All right, a little more Trump here, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Mhm.
That will be the foundation of every single decision that I will make. America first will be the major and overriding theme of my administration. But to chart our path forward, we must first briefly take a look back. We have a lot to be proud of. In the 1940s, we saved the world. The greatest generation beat back the Nazis and Japanese imperialists. Then we saved the world again, this time from totalitarianism and communism. The Cold War, it lasted for decades, but guess what? We won, and we won big. Democrats and Republicans working together got Mr. Gorbachev to heed the words of President Reagan, our great president, when he said, tear down this wall. History will not forget what he did. Very special man and president. Unfortunately, after the Cold War, our foreign policy veered badly off course. We failed to develop a new vision for a new time. In fact, as time went on, our foreign policy began to make less and less sense. Logic was replaced with foolishness and arrogance, which led to one foreign policy disaster after another. They just kept coming and coming. We went from mistakes in Iraq to Egypt to Libya to President Obama's line in the sand in Syria. Each of these actions have helped to throw the region into chaos and gave ISIS the space it needs to grow and prosper. Very bad. It all began with a dangerous idea that we could make Western democracies out of countries that had no experience or interest in becoming a Western democracy. We tore up what...
Okay. You want to reflect on what you're hearing so far?
Well, I tend to agree with that, and I have a letter from President Bill Clinton thanking me for writing articles that helped pass NAFTA. In the newspaper I worked for, and my articles perhaps did more for that than anything. But he goes on to say, too, on that we now have had political decisions rather than policy decisions. The political decision is, this gets me elected. I pull out of Iraq. I go into Iraq because it helps me get elected, not because we should do it, but it's a political decision more than a decision that's best for our country. That's what he's saying, and I agree with that. And I think NAFTA has to be tweaked too, has to be tweaked so that you don't take the manufacturing out of our country. You got to put that back in. We are supposed to be the breadbasket of the world, but every country keeps their farmers. Now, they don't have to keep their farmers because we are the breadbasket. We can feed them, but they know that we might get upset with them at one point and not feed
You know
them.
what happens? I belong to different organizations, which will go nameless, but there's one place where I go, and some of the people there are not so well to do, and I have found myself walking out and being accosted and asked for money, of which, in my naivety, a few years back, only 3 or 4 years ago, I would, of course, open up my wallet because I just believe most of the time I want to do that, my heart. But then I find out that suddenly there's a collection of people waiting outside for me to give them money, and someone who I respect greater than myself and his wisdom is older than me said, you just can't do that. And so it's hard for me to walk away and say no. And I'm afraid that's what we've done is we've trained. You train the little bird to come to your window every day for food. It suddenly stops looking for worms and working. It just hangs out by the window and it's waiting for its free food.
Yes, and if you don't feed it, it starves because it's not used to going for its free food anymore.
So are we supposed to police the world? One thing I think that my mom used to say when she was on this earth was, it's time for a female president because a female president will take care of her own first. And I'm feeling that that's the way Trump will work. I think he'll take care of home first. We need to take care of home. If we're weak, we can't give. It's like Victor Kayan, the guy who had remember the shaving company, the Jewish man, very wealthy, the electric razors. He used to go, I like this razor so much, I bought the company. And he said when he was growing, he's now deceased, when he was growing up though, he said, I want to be a giver, I want to go out and give. And his mother and father said, okay, go earn it so you have it to give. All right, we're going to take a little break and then we'll be back. This is the Mayor of the Airways. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Route 60 Hyundai. Tommy and Anne-Marie Trends are the owners. They're good folks and you'll get a good deal. Not only will you get a good deal, but you'll be treated with, is the word a plum?
A plum.
No, what does a plum mean?
Band,
David?
without a band.
A calmness without any.
A genteelness.
You could say that.
Yeah. They have a nice. They should have someone like you, Beverly, because they need a concierge. They have this new kitchen thing they put in.
Is it concierge or concierge?
I think it's concierge.
It's concierge.
Concierge.
Will you please say concierge?
You want to hear the Z or the G or whatever it is.
I want to hear it pronounced correctly.
What's the matter with y'all, by the way? I'm from New York. I'm doing a pretty good job. What can I say? Hey, today's broadcast is brought to you by my friend out there, Tommy. Long Island. That's where that guy comes from. He's good. He brought down his New York values.
Engineer, please give us a break.
Cruz,
give us a break,
no,
engineer.
Excuse me. Cruz also shot himself in the foot when he put down. You know what I wish? I wish Trump had not put down Carly Fiorina, because I would have liked to have seen her as his vice president. Because I tell you what, if I had my choice today above everybody, I'm sorry to say this, and I sound weird, I would vote for Carly Fiorina for president of the United States.
I think he still will. I think Carly would be a good running mate because she's a daddy's girl and he's a mama's boy.
He said it was horrible. He said, would you want to wake up to that face? What a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to say.
He said terrible things about a lot of people.
Jeez, we'll be back.
Nothing like driving in a fresh, clean car. Classic Car Wash, located at Miracle Mile.
You have to mention your book.
Rhett, when we get to the news break, which we will not get to the news break with this break that I'm currently playing, could you come see me?
Yes, darling, I'm always there for you,
Thank you. I may have accomplished a task that you have asked me to.
Okay. Oh.
What are you going to talk about when the election is over?
I used to think that about Rush Limbaugh. Oh my word, what are you going to do?
Is that
There's
right?
always some. Are you kidding?
There's always something. Huh?
The frivolity of man. We're talking about this issue now. There'll be another issue next week, and certainly another issue 6 months from now, and definitely another issue a year from now.
Mark Twain said all these issues disappear after 2 months.
They do. When I first came to town, I had more wisdom than I have now. I was an artist. I was not into politics. This thing has done this to me. I didn't even read the paper. And I didn't care. He said, this man is stupidity of man. They have this, they're arguing about this today, they'll be arguing about something else next month. I should have stayed with that. That's what I was born to be. Getting sucked into all this political bullshit. It's the superficiality of man.
People love it. That's your audience. They want that. That's why they buy those rag sheets.
It's Rush's what he's made a fortune doing it.
Mm-hmm. Would that make you happy if you made a fortune?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I should have known the answer.
See, what I should do is
The answer, what he gives is not really true. That will not make him that happy. Because then you'll be sitting around saying, do I deserve it? Do I deserve it? Oh my God.
Is he hard on you? Mm-hmm.
This is just lunacy. Okay, well, let's talk about this briefly. I want you all to have a quick opinion on picking your vice president. How much time can you bring us back as soon as possible?
Coming back in 10 seconds.
Yay. Thank you, sir.
May only really cut 15 seconds out of the break, but here we go.
This is funny. I mean, here's Cruz with Carly Fiorina. Why would a man who's losing the race pick his vice presidential candidate? It's ludicrous.
I don't know why they haven't said this. He is delusional.
Yeah, let's call. Oh, by the way, I was going to say an ace and a spade, and then somebody recently at a conference said, "Oh, you can't say that." It's not referencing black people. It's talking about a spade is a spade, differentiating from the tools of a farmer.
Yes.
So anyway,
What's also with cards? You have an ace and ace and spade and spade.
But anyway,
I've seen Sammy Davis do a riff on that. He said spade, you know, a spade.
So, what do you think about this guy picking his? You just said it. Really, why don't they just come out and say what has happened to common sense? The man is delusional.
Well,
unbelievable.
He said he did it, or his people said he did it because he's going to California, and she lost the election in California, and he thought that would shore himself up in California because she had some very good people.
You know, one thing about Rubio, I told you I called my local friend who knows Rubio 5 days before the Florida election. I said, tell him to have a press conference. Everybody will come because they think he's going to quit. Say, I apologize to Donald Trump and I apologize to the American people. I got persuaded by some people I shouldn't have been hanging with. I apologize. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be robotic and I'm not going to say those things about Trump. But guess what? I'm not quitting. Now, he still wouldn't have won Florida, but he would have saved his ability to be a politician. Rubio is out. And this guy has totally ruined himself. Out. They will never be voted by the American people. They have not asked for forgiveness.
Well, are we still on?
No. We're in news.
You can't do that because
to me, I admire this.
Rhett, before you play that song you're about to play.
Yes, he's not giving up. I mean, I don't know whether he made the right decision, but he's a human being who believes in something.
You asked me to find the gospel.
And I think he's feeling pressure from the Republican Party.
I think he's feeling pressure from his donors. I think the money is going away.
Yeah.
The money is going away. And when
they
the money goes away,
they play the tune to the donors.
When the money goes away, it's over. And the money is going away. That's why they say, I won't campaign in this area.
Yeah.
The money is they don't have the money to campaign.
Yeah.
Well, if you were here yesterday, Joe conducted it because Rhett wasn't here. And he is pro-Cruz. And he feels he made a prediction that all of a sudden the media is going to turn against Trump and Cruz is going to rise.
He's also delusional.
Aren't human beings amazing though when you think
Cruz has no friends. He has no friends.
He has no personality
I
either.
mean,
You can't get elected without a personality.
You have to be likable,
You have to be likable.
you know.
And
he's
whatever
not.
you think about Trump, he's likable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sincerely,
Right.
he's a likable person. I've met
Even
Trump.
Obama is likable.
He's absolutely
he's
likable.
doing everything that I despise, but he's still likable.
When he
right?
smiles, you feel good.
Yeah.
He's likable. He has this instant smile. Trump has a beautiful smile. Like people, especially with the news media today, 724, you got to be likable. And that's why Nixon
Thank
was
you.
not
That's
likable.
wonderful.
Kennedy was. And Nixon got elected. I was Kennedy.
You're right.
You got to be likable.
Okay, proceed with your song now, sir.
Well, we're talking about Trump.
And don't waste it. Keep it going.
Well, I gotta read the lyrics now. We're gonna do it. We're talking about Trump. He is the dude.
He's a big bump.
Talking about Trump.
He thinks like a stump.
You're a good writer.
You're talented.
He isn't a punk.
Hold on, that's pretty good though. Talking about Trump. He is the news. He's back on his stump. And I got Trump blues. Trump blues, is that good?
Trump blues.
Okay.
Mhm. It's been a crazy
Every
year.
time.
And he's not a ruse.
Every
And he's
time.
not a ruse.
This is another career of yours.
No, I write a lot of poetry, so I do that too.
Mhm.
But he's 3 times faster and better than
Oh,
I.
yeah.
He's just 3 times faster and better than I. His mind just thinks like that. I have to work at it.
Okay, talking about Trump. He is the news. He's back on his stump. And I got the Trump blues. Every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him with my hand.
Back in 15 seconds.
Wanna slap him with my hand. Is that good? With my little hand, with my big hand, little hand or big hand? With my little hand or big hand?
Big hand.
Oh,
Now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett, the mayor of the airwaves.
Well, we're talking Trump. He is the news. He's back on his stump. And I got the Trump blues. Well, every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him with my big, big hand. Big hand, not small, Rubio.
Oh, yeah. It's the big hand. He showed he has a big hand.
He actually does have a big hand.
I
Now,
know.
what possessed Rubio to say something so stupid? What? He's ruined himself. I really thought this guy really was presidential material. And then when he went on robotically,
He keeps an echo.
you know, the echo is still on. When he speaks robotically, and then he says these stupid things. Well, anyway, today's not about Rubio. He is history, and I believe his career is history. Personally, that's my.
I don't believe that. I think he's a young man. He'll come back.
We do.
Institutions they had.
All right, a little bit of
And
Trump here.
We're surprised at what we unleashed. Civil war, religious fanaticism, thousands of Americans and just killed, lives wasted, horribly wasted. Many trillions of dollars were lost as a result. The vacuum was created that ISIS would fill. Iran, too, would rush in and fill that void, much to their really unjust enrichment. They have benefited so much. so sadly for us. Our foreign policy is a complete and total disaster.
True.
No vision, no purpose, no direction, no strategy. Today, I want to identify 5 main weaknesses in our foreign policy. First, our resources are totally overextended. President Obama has weakened our military by weakening our economy. He's crippled us with wasteful spending, massive debt, low growth, a huge trade deficit, and open borders. Our manufacturing.
Now let's go over that. Is that a fact? Is that a fact?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Which one? So
Well, what you're saying about Obama.
Several things.
Well, there's a few things I'm still on the quote about him saying about Obama drawing the line in the sand. Remember, he drew the line in the sand for the Syrian president and said, if you do that, if you are a monster to children and women, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And then the Syrian president does it, and he does nothing.
Well, he made a decision to do it. He then walked around with his chief of staff for about half an hour, came back and said, I changed my mind. Just unreal. Leaders cannot do things like that. You cannot.
Words mean something, particularly when they come from the president of the United States.
Even my Aunt Hattie, when I was 18, could see that I was indecisive. Or going into a Howard Johnson's where they says, listen, you need to learn to be decisive, even if it's the wrong decision. Today, I know.
When it's Howard Johnson's 27 varieties of ice cream, which one shall I have?
That was I never thought of that.
Well, what was the decision?
We were walking out. No, she could tell that I had an
indecisive. Yeah, I know. It was the ice cream. I don't know.
I never thought of that, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the Bible, it says, my people perish for lack of wisdom. It's actually in the Old Testament. It's part of the Torah. My people perish for lack of vision.
If you take the Hebrew, it's not wisdom, it's vision.
Vision. I meant to say vision.
Vision. The leader has to have vision, and it has to be the correct vision. And what Trump is saying, and I disagree with his attitude, is, as you said, I like to slap him with my big hand sometimes how he talks. But his vision, I think, is the correct vision at this time for our country. It's a correct vision. And sometimes out of the mouths of babes, something good says. But I think he has the correct vision for the country at this time. I hope he can manage.
I have a friend who yesterday was coming back from the hospital. This little boy has had a lot of challenges for a little tiny tyke of only 3. And he came back and he was in the car yesterday. I think he just turned 4, I'm not sure. But he said, Mom, I like big butts. I can't lie. I like big butts, and that's that. And that's what he said to his mother and his grandmother as they're driving back from, where did he get that from? I like big butts. I can't lie. I like big butts.
Television.
Now, what would possess a little? No, this isn't real life. This is a friend right here in Vero Beach. They'd gone over to the Children's Hospital over there. Now, I do know that when a child, did you know that Sinatra had challenges when he was very young with being he was very sickly when he was first born.
No.
When I was a child, I had to remain in the hospital because I had stomach problems. This little boy has stomach problems, who will remain nameless. But the point is, sometimes I think that you find out that those that had some sort of a challenge in the youth later on have some sort of a little extra depth of quality. And I think that's what this little boy is showing,
They'll mean by saying that he likes butts, that's an extra depth
that's simply just amazing for a little boy. Where did that come from?
But
that certainly shows that he has a depth of understanding. I mean, there's no question about that, Rhett, according to you. I wouldn't say that, but maybe he just saw too much of it on TV. Yeah.
Hold on, he has a son, so just go ahead, Shane.
He likes big butts and he cannot lie.
Yeah.
The other brothers to die. It's actually a song from the 90s by an artist called Sir Mix-a-Lot.
So he was quoting a song.
The first few sentences he said, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Oh my word. So he was quoting
a
a song, and the mother and the grandmother didn't realize. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I get it.
Not only the mother and the granddaughter doesn't realize, we didn't realize.
We didn't realize.
At least we have someone profound
Yeah,
around
at
here.
least, thank God we
Well,
have.
you know, the reason is that this young man, he keeps up
We
with
have
what's
Shane.
going on.
Trade deficit with the
A little
world
more Trump here.
is now approaching $1 trillion a year. We're rebuilding other countries while weakening our own. Ending the theft of American jobs will give us resources we need to rebuild our military, which has to happen, and regain our financial independence and strength. I'm the only person running for the presidency who understands this, and this is a serious problem. I'm the only one, believe me, I know them all. I'm the only one that knows how to fix it.
Now someone might contest those words, but he is the one in New York City. For years, they were trying to fix up this
Hockey rink.
Yeah, hockey rink, and sure enough, they couldn't do it for years and years. He came in and did it. He said he'd do it in a year. He did it in less, I think, 4 months.
Well, the way his mind works is he said, who is good at hockey rinks? And he said, Canadians. So he flew up to Canada.
You're kidding.
He flew up to Canada and got the people that made the best hockey rinks in Canada.
And that's what I think he will do. He may be a jackass at times, but he's my next door neighbor, good guy, billionaire jackass.
And he reminds me of the mayor of the airways.
Thanks a lot. Oh, no! Trump will be tuning in saying, I picked my vice presidential. It's the mayor. Oy vey! I'm on my way!
Wonderful quality.
Did you imagine the two of us together?
But every once in a while.
Well, if we could just dispel the image of you two together and go back to what he said. He was talking about hurting our own investment. We don't have enough money to take care of ourselves, and we're giving money to other countries, which is just ludicrous. I think that every day when I see them give $1 billion here and $1 billion there, and we're borrowing money from China to give to these other people. It's absolutely horrendous. The other thing, of course, that I can't understand is all these veterans groups that are helping the veterans when we're not helping the veterans. We're sending $1 billion to Bangladesh, but we can't take care of our own veterans. We have to have volunteer groups to take care of our veterans. This is just insane.
Well, what's that veterans group too that's on TV? You know, and once
Wounded
again, you know my
Warriors,
little, your Wounded Warriors. Here's my little intuitive thing. I swear to God, I've never thought twice about Wounded Warriors. You know, I'm a patriotic guy. Went to wherever it is to sing patriotic songs. What's the name of the place where you know, up on the Hudson?
West Point.
West Point, thank you. And so, you know, here they get the Wounded Warrior shtick. And I'm watching TV about a month and a half ago, and suddenly it comes over me and said, Wounded Warriors, they've collected a lot of money. I wonder where that's really going. And then it comes out in the news, they've made billions, and the two characters that were running have now been ousted, and they're messing with all. How can you? That's reprehensible to mess with the money that's set aside for our Wounded Warriors. It's ludicrous.
There's another one that says you can send us cash.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
So, David, you believe charity begins at home?
Well, I believe that you can't, it's not prudent, fiscally prudent for you to give away money when you owe money. It just doesn't make sense.
And we should be taking care of our own. We should be taking care of our own.
Secondly, our allies are not paying their fair share. And I've been talking about this recently a lot. Our allies must contribute toward their financial, political, and human costs, have to do it, of our tremendous security burden. But many of them are simply not doing so. They look at the United States as weak and forgiving and feel no obligation to honor their agreements with us. In NATO, for instance, only 4 of 28 other member countries, besides America, are spending the minimum required 2% of GDP on defense. We have spent trillions of dollars over time on planes, missiles, ships, equipment, building up our military to provide a strong defense for Europe and Asia. The countries we are defending must pay for for the cost of this defense. And if not, the U.S. must be prepared to let these countries defend themselves. We have no choice. The whole world will be safer if our allies do their part to support our common defense and security. A Trump administration will lead a free world that is properly armed and funded beautifully. Thirdly, our friends are beginning to think they can't depend on us. We've had a president who dislikes our friends and bows to our enemies, something that we've never seen before in the history of our country.
True.
He negotiated a disastrous deal with Iran, and then we watched them ignore its terms even before the ink was dry. Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Cannot be allowed. Remember that. Cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. And under a Trump administration, will never, ever be allowed to have that nuclear weapon.
You know, here's the thing. I think that
All of this-
I think he will kick butt. But I am thinking as I'm listening to this going, you know, he's going to come in and he is really going to stir the pot. And, you know, America is hated already. I was thinking about the way we have to take care of the world. Well, you know, we in the past, we've made a whole lot of money. And as you just said, we have a whole lot of debt. We've made a whole lot of money and we've been helping the world. Now, all of a sudden, if Trump closes up the pipeline, you know, one thing people will do when they get hungry, they will protest. They will pick up guns. And that's what's happened here already. The world is quite jealous of us. They want to ruin our freedom. They don't have freedom, so they want to take away our freedom. They don't have food, so they want to take away our food. And it is a bully. Now, at the same time, noblesse oblige, the obligation of nobility. Is it noblesse oblige or nobility? Did I say it right? Noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige.
Okay. That we have the obligation of nobility. And make no mistake, we are the rich young punk. I mean, when I was in Sète, France, and I was driving around interviewing this cab driver, and he said, a lot of concrete there. It wasn't a particularly attractive city at all. And I said, what's going on? He said, there's nothing happening here. This is such a young city. It's only 300 years old. He actually said that. And he was in earnest. It's only 300 years old. Well, we're younger than that, man. I mean, like, we're this young, brazen, rich, trust fund baby. And we're just, and in our moments of kindness, we're flippantly.
We're not a trust fund baby. We made it. We earned it. We're not a trust fund baby. We didn't get the money from them. David, what?
Your father earned it, and maybe you earned it. The kids today didn't earn it. And they're spoiled, jerky brats. I got to have my Nikes. What kind of crap is that? Go out in the field and work for 6 months. Let's have every kid in America has to go and they have to donate their services for 6 months somewhere in an impoverished nation. Come on back and see what you think about America.
I think they should have the CDC, Civilian Defense Corps, make them all mandatory and have a year or two into that.
Yes.
Which would be especially good for the underprivileged black youngsters who would get some leadership.
You want our children to be more firmly on the ground, put more on their shoulders. You want their feet firmly on the ground, put more on their shoulders.
No wonder he's the mayor of the year.
That's a wonderful statement.
Thank you. I stole it from the internet. Okay. Whatever, I'll take the credit. Everybody else takes credit, so why not me? Hey, we're going to take a little break, all right? We're going to come back. We have Dave Walsh in here today. Yes, David?
FDR stole the phrase, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. He stole that one.
He did? I didn't know that.
Did you hear this? The only thing to fear is fear itself.
That's exactly how I sound.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Route 60 Hyundai, also by Center for Advanced Eye Care, 5 eye doctors that genuinely care about your eye care. Dr. Tim Ioannidis, Treasure Coast Dermatology. Skin cancer is pernicious. It can kill you. This is not just some guy paid on the radio to talk about this. This is Dr. Ioannidis. He'll take good care of you. Get a full body scan every year. Over on 37, Dr. Tim Ioannidis, Treasure Coast Dermatology.
I must admit, I hadn't heard Trump, and I'm really impressed.
With this.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I was I went to see it, going to take notes, what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And came away saying, what a great speech. But then I listened to the commentators, and the people on the right liked it, the people on the left didn't like it. No one was objective on it. You know, I think it's a very good speech, whatever you are.
We should have started this months ago. We should have, you
A
know.
lot of people said
It's because the whole center of thinking is not what he's saying today. So it's a revolutionary to them.
It's revolutionary, Joe,
But it's common sense.
it's just common sense.
And it was common sense and not so common.
It's common sense is not so common anymore.
But we have to get rid of some of the.
But it's interesting. I came from very poor people, so when I raised my sons, we cut our own lawn, we painted our own house. You know, and I was making good money. We're living a very. He said, everybody else goes to Aspen. We don't go to Aspen. I said, no. Why do we cut our lawn? No one else cuts our lawn. We don't paint our own house. Because I used to be painter. We painted the outside of the house, 2 coats. We did it twice. We painted the inside. And the kids couldn't believe. I never had to find a job for my kids. They always found a job for themselves. And I had connections. They didn't even ask me. They just found jobs.
Sure. Yes.
Because I trained them to work.
Yes.
I was trained to work. We burned the paint off the house before we put the.
We did too. You burn off yes, I did all that.
We had a colonial 3-story house, 40-foot ladder.
The same way, 36-foot ladder,
Oh,
36-foot ladder. And the real top one, I'm used to that. I'm not nervous. I said, gee, I don't
Would you
know if
go
I can
take
do
care
that.
of our polo people?
Oh, sure, that's who's
Now,
here.
here's the deal, the polo people here, it's obligated, it's paid for.
Yes.
I'm gonna have them on for maybe 12 minutes,
I'll
and I
leave.
wanna get back to this.
I'll leave.
So, no, I don't want you to leave.
Oh.
No, but I don't want you to
You don't want to
leave.
throw us out of here now.
No, we got 5 more minutes to the news, we're gonna do the news, then I'll have them in here
Throw us out.
Huh?
Then you throw us out.
for 10 minutes, and I want you both back. Is that agreeable?
Sure.
To talk to more of the Trump.
Sure, absolutely. No problem.
I'm obligated to do
But
it.
you
No,
did-
you're paid.
But you did the same thing with your kids.
Mm.
You didn't have to, if you did that, you didn't have to say anything,
Right.
You
because
know,
I worked with them.
I have an idea. This is an interruption with these people coming in. I think I'm gonna take the 10 o'clock half hour every day. And maybe every day, but almost, and use that for, they can have these local things that are interruptive of, I mean, this is good, solid entertainment and news. Now we're gonna have to talk about polo. I mean, so if I held that to book them for 10,
You'd be better off.
make that the, like the community
Yeah, but
magazine.
you, if you're paying, you want it when most people are listening.
Well, that's too bad what they want.
Well, you want it to be effective.
I want, there's a reason I have numbers is because I can't do all that crap. And they all want it for, and
Well, you don't give it to them free.
I've learned that. One thing Patty's done good here is she's got me charging people for interviews. And they're paying. This is no more free, they'll come in, they use the American Red Cross came on for 12 years. Then somebody left them $250,000. They bought advertising everywhere except with me.
Yeah.
Although I gave the American Red Cross $25 last night online because I want to help the people over there, They do good.
They do good, but when Dole was in charge, he got $1 million a year running the American
Well,
Red Cross.
I thought it was. Hey, this is the mayor of the airways. We continue our conversation with Mr. David Walsh. How are you, Mr. David Walsh?
Very good, sir. Thank you.
And we also have Stanford Erickson, former White House correspondent. We're talking about Trump and his speech on
Wednesday.
Yeah, speech on Wednesday.
If you're self-employed,
see, this is
you're
crap.
probably keeping track of the miles you drive so you can write them off in your
On
taxes.
Wednesday, he spoke on
Without
foreign
even
affairs.
mentioning the humiliation of the United States with Iran's treatment of our 10 captured sailors. So vividly, I remember that day. In negotiation, you must be willing to walk. The Iran deal, like so many of our worst agreements, is the result of not being willing to leave the table. When the other side knows you're not going to walk, it becomes absolutely impossible to win.
Right.
You can't win. At the same time, your friends need to know that you will stick by the agreements that you have with them. You've made that agreement. You have to stand by it, and the world will be a better place. President Obama gutted our missile defense program, then abandoned our missile defense plans with Poland and the Czech Republic. He supported the ouster of a friendly regime in Egypt that had a long-standing peace treaty with Israel, and then helped bring the Muslim Brotherhood to power in its place. Israel, our great friend, and the one true democracy in the Middle East, has been snubbed and criticized by an administration that lacks moral clarity. Just a few days ago, Vice President Biden again criticized Israel, a force for justice and peace, for acting as an impatient peace area in the region.
Well, what do you think of that?
It's amazing that the Democratic Party, I hate to say this, ladies and gentlemen, is so far to the left and so lacking a moral compass. They do not stand up for our allies. They do not stand up for people who have been our long friends and allies in various endeavors, and they go to the other side and make peace with people that hate us.
Yeah, and then they say that they say that Trump's going to be another Hitler. What kind of crap is that?
Yeah,
you know, well, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
What do you know, as he's emerging here, I'm seeing him as presidential. I know he's a nut. He said the most stupidest things you've ever heard somebody who's running for the presidency say, but at the same time, he's also speaks as if your neighbor was making, and
he's not as polished as most of these guys that are crazy, and they don't let you know they're crazy. With him, you know he's crazy.
Yeah. But historically, he picks groups. He puts groups together, like you said. That hockey rink in New York City. It's indicative of what a man does is what he'll do. The spots on the leopard don't change. What did he do? New York couldn't do it. A bunch of flipping idiots. And so he flew up to Canada and got experts to come down and build that. I was over at the bookstore last night, out at the mall. The lady there is the manager. I've known her for years. I don't want to get her in trouble. I hope I don't. But she said, you can know. I said, how are you doing? She says, I'm working so many hours. It's ridiculous. I said, why? She said, well, unless you make, the government now says they want more salaried people. So the stupid government got involved and said, now in order to be a salaried, you have to make at least $50,000 a year or plus. So they demoted her to the point where she's now working an hourly wage. In order to make what she used to make, she's having to work 14-hour days. And she said, I wish the government would keep their hands out of business. They're not here to run our business. They're slipping in. It's just like a friend of mine said yesterday, the frog. How do you boil a frog? You put it in hot water, boiling water, it'll jump out. What you do is you put the pan on the stove, you put the frog in there in the cold water, and then you slowly turn up the heat, slowly, and you boil the frog. And that's what's happening in America.
They're boiling us. That's true.
Today's broadcast brought to you by the Tides. When's the last time you've been to the Tides? David, you and I?
Not recently.
And
last week.
Our good friend was here. And she was with us, and so was Barbara. It was wonderful. White linen treatment. Make a reservation.
I called Claudia. I mentioned your name. I always get a table. I shouldn't say that, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay, you got the polo people?
Yeah. Now, who has more knowledge of polo? Because I got. So I need someone else who.
I don't know anything about polo.
You know anything about polo?
I've watched polo.
Okay. Good. And by the way, you guys are invited. This is the last polo match this Sunday. They're going to have a free, the Bush family, Anheuser-Busch, are putting on this big free food event. They're giving me a complimentary tent right next to Walsh, John Walsh.
Where
He'll be there with his son and his daughter.
Where is it? At Windsor or where?
No, that place.
The polo field.
Point West.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring them in here, and then you're gonna stick around and come back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, question. Do you want coffee or sugar?
This is actually a contact.
I'm not running up and down the hallway and diving back and forth from one computer to the other. I mean, I'm okay. I heard my name. I swear I did. I heard my name. They said my name.
He's on standby if we want to call him in to say hello. Hi,
Is it
Mr.
Bobby
I've
again?
had a convoy. I've enjoyed
Yes.
listening to you for years.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet
Would
you.
you like to call Bobby?
Get him on the line.
Okay.
I'm James Rhett. How do you do? Can I go for hands well here?
This is Stanford Erickson.
Hi,
how
I've
are
had
you?
a convoy. It's nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
How you
Stanford
doing?
Erickson.
James?
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You calling Bobby?
Yeah.
Point West also has great golf pros. I'm taking lessons
Oh,
there.
good. Recently?
Yes.
I don't know, because I know they've, under new management or ownership, and they have their new school.
Yeah.
They've been great with us as well. They've given us a social membership, so when we have our pros in town, we can go over and have lunch and
Yeah.
work with them.
The food is excellent.
It's good. And out west, there's not much.
I know.
So it's nice.
There's nothing out west except Burger King. And
Chick-fil-A.
That's about it.
Chick-fil-A coming.
Oh, that's right, that big building there.
Yeah, well, they've had delays because of the local government too. They're supposed to open up
Oh,
last
really?
October. I was just told last night by the manager of the, books out there, formerly Walden Books, now Books A Million, that now they're not gonna open until, they're supposed to open the next week, but they're not gonna open until the 27th of May. There's just all kinds of holdups. It's this community.
Mm-hmm.
Hada, do I need your, I don't have your last name.
Convoy, C-O-N-B as in boy.
Oh, Convoy.
Yeah, it's
Okay. And James Redmond.
All right.
His father was the famous race car driver, Le Mans, and champ, and also like Paul. He was in movies with Paul Newman and stuff like that. His father's still very much alive and living on the beach here in Vero Beach.
Still driving.
And so, am I going to sing "God Bless America" this Sunday, or what?
We have somebody.
Oh, we
Oh,
wish
yeah.
I had known
We
that.
do.
We did just line someone up.
Now they could sing I can sing "God Bless America." I cannot sing "Oh
Right.
Say." Now if they want to do that and then have me do "God Bless America" or something.
I would love that.
Yeah. Are you planning on being out there for the beginning?
Would be, I have to be there at what, about 1:15, 1:30? It starts at
Starts
2.
at 2.
So
And
about-
sometimes I think you put me on in the middle, didn't you? When you
Let me
do-
have a think about it.
you think about it.
You need to
Yeah, I love
write a polo song.
And
You can write a polo song.
okay.
There you go.
Oh, were you listening on the way in? My Trump
No,
song?
no, I didn't hear that.
Oh.
Oh, you did a Trump song. Okay.
Oh yeah, talking Trump. He's all the news. Back on his stump. I've got the Trump blues. Every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. I want to slap him with my big, big, big hand.
Yeah, we have Jeff Zachary.
But you know, he says stupid stuff, and yet now, if you look at his history, what he did, like with the
Hockey rink.
hockey rink in New York City, and the government couldn't get it done in 2 years. He went in. What did he do? He says, "Who builds hockey rinks?" So it was supposed to take a year to do it. He did it in 4 months. He went up to Canada, brought back the experts. It was up. And I really think he will surround himself with good people.
He has to.
I mean, he's certainly out of all the goofs that are running, and every one of them's a goof. I mean, look at this character picking his presidential. Oh my word! It's just ludicrous, you know.
Scary times, man. Different times.
And we don't want Hillary. I mean, even my Democratic friends don't want Hillary.
In terms of polo,
I'd like to. I wouldn't mind that.
do they have
Bernie.
to groom a certain type of horse?
They're
Maybe a polo?
generally kind of quarter horse thoroughbreds. Thoroughbreds are the quick.
Oh, wait a second.
So,
Ask the questions on there.
yeah.
That's
Be curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Point West.
It will certainly get you there on the microphone. It's behind Point West. It's actually the polo grounds.
Polo
Bobby
grounds at
did
Point
not
West.
answer the phone when I
The
called
polo
him.
Not actually
grounds.
connected. It's the polo
Okay.
grounds, isn't it?
On 12th Street. It
Yeah.
is the Polo Grounds neighborhood.
Yeah.
Off of 12th Street. The entrance is off of 12th Street.
South of the.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart.
But if not singing it, we'll certainly get you on the microphone anyway. Something.
Yeah. Well, trust me, my feelings aren't hurt. Matter of fact, if you don't use me, I'll probably feel better. Well, see, his wife was in here years ago. It's a funny story, and I use the story when I'm telling people about
I hate
radio.
you for it.
She came in here, and I put her on the mic, and she was, I mean, I've never really, she's probably one of the most nervous people ever. That weekend, they invited me out to sing "God Bless America." I'm terrible in front of people. I get very nervous. And that week I went, oh my God, now I'm the one shaking. She's going, oh, there goes number 43. And she's so
She's
fluid.
amazing. Yeah, she's
Isn't she?
amazing. But
It's a totally opposite talents.
a lot of creative people kind of have that, I
Mhm.
think, you know, when they're on, and then behind the scenes, very private. And
Yeah, we're very lucky. I mean, I know my wife, but she's good.
I tried to call Bobby. He did not answer the phone.
Oh, we'll go ahead with that.
Okay,
We're cool.
we can start and then maybe dial him in.
Yeah,
You want-
I left him
yeah.
the number, so he could give me a call if he gets the message. If not, I'll try to give him a call back in like
Okay.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll do fine with or without.
It's just our last game of the season. We've got
Yeah,
a lot of groups coming out, and we've had a good season, got a little bit of a late
Hold on,
start.
save it for the end.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe,
Have that
maybe
enthusiasm
between
on
Rhett and Jeff, we can do kind of two short ones or something.
I think it'd be important for the community too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this is the first time you're coming out. We've got your tailgate spot arranged. You gonna bring your fancy car?
It's being repaired.
Maybe we could help you sell it out there.
Oh, yeah,
All
that's
those
it.
people.
I want to sell it. It's been 20 years. Okay.
Maybe Bobby would buy it, stick it out there.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
Aruga. That's the sound you're going to hear of my horn of my 1928 Model A. I'll be at the Polo Grounds along with these good folks. Good morning, Pata Conboy and James Redmond.
Morning, Rhett. Lovely to see you.
Great. Yeah, I see you have opened the article in Vero's Voice magazine, the upscale magazine of choice, Vero's Voice. How'd you like your article?
Oh, we can't thank you enough. It's beautiful. Hayden Walsh on the cover, and you turn to page 6, and there's a great action shot of Bobby Genovese leading the pack of the King of Games. It's an awesome interview.
Has he had a
awesome
chance
article.
to see that, or?
He has not. So Bobby will be coming this weekend to lead Team BG, and we'll be sure that there are plenty of copies for Bobby and the crowds.
This is a big weekend, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last. You've had a great season, Mr. Redmond.
We have. It's been a wonderful season. The turnout of spectators has been spectacular, and players coming from all over Florida, actually from all over the world. We've had players from Nigeria from last weekend, or the weekend before, a player from Holland. So it's a really, truly international game out at the Polo Grounds.
And how did you know your father was a famous race car driver, lives in town here? And I bring that up only because how did you switch from race cars to horses?
I'm actually still involved in race cars. I just had a race this past weekend in Atlanta, Road Atlanta, with 300 plus historic racing cars. So
really?
Got back from that, but I got involved with polo. My sister moved down here. We all followed her down here to Vero Beach. We were living up in Jacksonville, Florida, and she was doing work with special equestrians, the riding therapy for the handicap. And we thought we would go to a polo match and do a raffle for a ride in a racing car. And that's how we went out to polo. And that's where I met Dawn, the voice of polo. And we grew up probably 60 miles away from each other in England and met here in Vero Beach at polo.
And fell in love.
Yes.
And got married.
Took about 3 years to get a date with her, but eventually we did.
Did it really take that long?
Various reasons, nothing really personal or to do with each other. It was just the circumstances.
Now, isn't that amazing? They grew up near each other, and yet it took coming to America on a polo field in Vero Beach, Florida.
Yep.
Now, the Polo Grounds, I understand there's a special, it's all going to be very special this weekend. Explain the event. Everybody's invited, by the way, in the sound of our voice.
Well, we just have a real culmination of the whole community coming together, as well as all of our sponsors and some new sponsors. And I hope you don't mind. Can I plug a few?
Not
it's
at all,
great.
please.
You know, Charlie Rapogel of Ocean Grill has graciously donated a $100 gift certificate for a raffle prize. So we'll have fun raffle prizes. And we've got a new one on board for this last Sunday, which is Marine Bank. They'll be coming out. And Vero's Voice will be there, as you said, in full form. And then we've got some of our traditional ongoing sponsors, 6th Avenue Jewelers, Noble Equestrian, Bonner Mobile Bar, Florida Juice, Village Pet Clinic, Suncor Communities, and the list goes on. Another really exciting event that we have coming. I'll let James talk about it as he's a little bit more familiar.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, as a lot of people probably know, the Bush family, big polo players. Tiffany Bush is one of the best female players in the country.
Anheuser-Busch.
Yep, the Anheuser-Busch family. And Southern Eagle, which is the distributorship, they're providing a Louisiana crawfish broil, 200 pounds of crawfish, which is quite
200 pounds of crawfish. Yeah, you got to talk about that now.
Exactly.
Got crawfish, ball up that crawfish, and get it going. Yum, yum.
I don't think it comes from Milwaukee, that's for sure. But they're doing that, and Tiffany will be playing. As Pat has said, it's kind of the culmination of the season. A lot of the patrons, a lot of the members of Vero Beach Polo, John Walsh will be playing, along with the patriarch of Vero Beach Polo, George Cale, bringing along Gaston Rodriguez, who was the pro for Charlie Replogle. Again, a lovely article on Charlie in the Vero Voice magazine.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was a good article. He was
Yep.
very, very forthcoming. He didn't think it was for the magazine. He thought it was just for radio.
Yeah, no,
So he was a little shocked when he saw the transcription.
that was great.
Yeah.
So that's what we have going on. And as always, we have a lot of fun for all the spectators when we do a halftime wooden horse challenge, which I'd like to see you take on.
No,
It's actually a training device. It's a barrel with a horse's head and a saddle on it. You sit up in the air and use a regular length polo mallet and hit the balls.
Oh.
So it's kind of practice for polo.
You know, I'm just so uncoordinated as I've gotten older. But we'll have fun. How was your wife?
She's doing great. Thank you very much. As I was just saying to you and Pata before I went on the air, I mean, we're very fortunate. I know she's my wife, but she's been doing polo announcing here in Vero for 30 years.
And she does it with that same accent you have.
She does.
Gives
She
us
does.
a little, you know, just there.
She's very entertaining and very educational. I mean, the spectators, we often have people come back from Wellington where the big polo matches or big air polo matches are and say, wow, we're so lucky to have Dawn here, because she explains the history of the game, that it's the oldest organized sport in the world, over 2,500 years old.
2,500 years old?
Yep. A little bit older than baseball and football and golf and things like that. But it's fun. It really is. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful
Have
day
you
out.
read recently that they're saying medicinally that a horse's heart, I know this will sound strange to those of you, maybe you guys, or maybe you'll understand this, but you know, I've been thinking about getting a horse, or at least getting connected to a horse so I can go out and I have to groom it and stuff. Only because I've been around some friends with horses. Dr. Dean in town, she has horses. There's just a connection. Well, now they've released something scientifically that says the heart actually gives out some sort of energy that actually quells. And when I was telling my Aunt Kathy out west of town, you know, she's an all-American Italian aunt with my uncle, my mother's brother, Irish. Well, anyway, she said, well, in our family, there has been a challenge of a little girl that was born a few years ago, and she's lovely, but she was deprived of a little bit of oxygen on the way out. And so, you know, thank God now they have reports that the brain can actually regrow, you know, which is great, good news for everybody. But anyway, they take this little baby and put it on the back of a horse, and they ride her around, and the connection's phenomenal. And they're now saying, like these fellows that come back from a trauma, the military, they have them connect to horses. And so I don't know what led me into talking about this. I guess just the love of horses.
Yeah, exactly. Just the love of horses. They are fantastic. There's something very, very calming about them.
Okay. Is he on?
I believe so.
Okay. Do we have the fella on? She said that we got, what's that? You can talk. It's okay.
Oh, no, he's just texting.
Oh, he's texting that he's available. If you want to. Okay. Thank you, Shane.
Well, Rhett, the therapeutic riding is huge in this town as well. There are a couple of organizations that do that, as James had mentioned. He was involved with some time ago. But even more importantly, we welcome you out anytime to BG Polo and Equestrian. We'd love to connect you with a horse. We have some really fine animals.
I want to do this. I feel this innate need to. I don't know why of late. You know. How about you, Stanford Erickson, former White House correspondent? Introduce you guys to him, and he just has a new book out. What's the title of your book, by the way?
What kind of women can be president of the United States?
Yeah,
I write about politics.
So,
but
do any of these women ride horses?
Carly rode horses.
Carly
Filarina rode horses. But I'm a son of a farmer, so I was raised with horses, and horses in our family worked for us.
Sure. Yeah.
But the relationship was always a warm relationship. And when I get around horses, they sort of instinctively know that I'm not afraid.
Well, they know stuff. Did anybody in here see the movie Buck? Please, I will buy the movie for you.
I'll check it out.
Please, it's the original Horse Whisperer. And he was put on television as a young man with his brother by an abusive father. And he would do the lassoing and stuff.
Yes.
Well, later on, he was taken at an early age from his father. He still has the scars on his back. The father would whip him. Okay, now he's the Horse Whisperer.
Yes.
And he says the way a horse responds says more about the owner than it does the horse.
That's
right. And because he was beaten or whatever, he's a very gentle gentleman. Well, they did this whole documentary on him.
Yeah,
all people, please see that movie.
Sounds fascinating.
I'd be happy to buy you a copy.
Well, what he did is as he was healing horses that have been abused. He was healing and showing how to heal it. Women would collapse, just faint.
What do you mean?
This, so he went and asked. These women had been abused too. So that while he was helping an abused horse, the women that had been abused could relate and collapsed. So there's a visceral connection.
Well, this movie was shot. I was at the Nantucket Film Festival, and that's where I met the director, the producers. And the funny thing about it is the whole movie was shot by a female crew, a female producer, and a female director. And I met them all when I was at the Nantucket Film Festival. I still have her phone number in my phone. I ought to call her sometime, do an interview. But this movie, Buck, is fantastic. Now, if you want to get close to horses, well, you can do it right here in Vero Beach, Sundays. And this is it for the season. Boo, boo, hoo. It's our last polo match. I'll be there. You two will be here.
We will all be there. We're looking forward to it.
And what time does the game start?
The game starts at 2:00. We open the games up at 1:00. And it's, what is the cost for it, Patrick? It's $10 a car?
$10 a car and driver and $5 for each additional passenger. Now that's on the general admission side, and then we do have the premium reserve tailgating, which is $50 for the afternoon.
All right, now we have Mr. Genovese on the line, and would you introduce him and why we're talking to him?
Oh, great. Good morning, Bobby. Are you there?
How you doing, Bobby? Looking forward to seeing you this weekend, sir. Not me. I don't think they have a horse big enough for me. Oh boy, I tell you what. So,
well, with Budweiser, that would be right.
actually, you know, that's actually. Yeah, everybody in the sound of our voice, you are invited to come out and enjoy this. Actually, the price to get in is what? What was the price? It's very
$10
cheap.
for car and driver and $5 for additional passengers. And you get it's a real tailgating experience. You pull right up to the boards of the field and you unpack your picnic and your lawn chairs and bring sunscreen and a hat.
Yes,
And
yes, you can pretend that you're British and have a little table set up with white linen and hot tea, you know.
Oh, Bobby, I have to say something. Bobby, I have to say something. We've had a lot of visitors from the UK, and as James mentioned earlier, we have a lot of international players and visitors. But I had a group approach me last weekend on the field, and they said the BG, it must stand for bloody good polo.
Well, there you go. Bloody good looking. So we're going to have a lot of fun out here this Sunday. And now start arriving at 1:00. And Bobby,
where is it? You haven't explained where it is.
Oh,
Okay, sorry. The polo games are played on a beautiful field in the Polo Grounds neighborhood, which is located off of 12th Street, just behind the Point West neighborhood. So you're off of State Road 60, very close to 95. It's very easy accessibility. You would just come in, say, on 74th Avenue to 12th Street, and you would head west, and you'll see the gates on the left-hand side. And it is a big, beautiful private neighborhood. The gates will be open. We have our greeters at the front gate, and they will direct you to your tailgate
now,
spot.
Bobby, what got you, because you're an entrepreneur, you've done a lot of things in your life, own a multiple businesses. Why polo? And who first introduced you to polo, and why this attraction to it? Bloody good polo. Yes, I like that.
And on that note, Bobby, too, one of the biggest comments we get from our visiting polo players are the response. So it's exactly what you said about going to Palm Beach. They say, we love coming to Vero because of the crowd. We love to know that we're appreciated. When you look at the hard work that is put into both, the physical demands for the horse and the rider, the expenses and hauling these horses around, and then they come to Vero, and as they get on those horses and run down the field, there's a cheering crowd. Honestly, that's the biggest thing the players say. They don't have that in these other small clubs around the country. They love to come to Vero and get that feedback.
How did you get involved in polo?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was formerly in the yachting industry where I had known Bobby Genovese.
Yachting?
Correct.
Okay.
For almost 30 years.
What did you do in the yachting industry?
Sales and marketing, and was a yacht broker.
Oh, really?
And traveled the globe as well.
My brother lived on his sailboat for about 26 years. A lot of fun.
So I came back to Vero and needed to reinvent myself with young children, and had horses. That was a passion on the side. And just this whole deal came together. So
one thing leads to another.
One thing leads to another.
It does. It does. Well, listen, Bobby, we're looking forward to seeing you, sir, on Sunday at the last game. Mr. Redmond, you look like you have some final word you want to say here.
Yes, anybody wants to learn more about it, of course, as we mentioned earlier, that wonderful article in Vero's Voice. And as Pat has said, there's a great picture of Bobby Genovese leading the pack here, so you can see what's going on. But also visit the website, verobeachpolo.com, and follow us on Facebook. Just look for Vero Beach Polo, and that keeps updated daily with all the news.
You can go to www.verosvoice.com to see that entire issue if you don't have the physical copy in front of you.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I just thought about something. Maybe you want to get our graphic artist to give you that article, and you could post it on your website.
That'd be great.
To be read. I mean, because it'll certainly be durable. It's timeless,
It is. That's very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for getting up early. Bobby, thanks for taking our phone call and talking to us, and we'll see you Sunday, sir. Right? Okay.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Thank you both. Thank you both for getting up early and being over here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This is the mayor of the airwaves. I'll see you out at the polo fields this Sunday. I'm going to get there about 1 o'clock-ish. It starts at 2 o'clock. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is the big event you don't want to miss. If you haven't been to polo this season, this is the event you do not want to miss. Get some of that crawfish going there with the Bush family. You're going to have a lot of fun. John Walsh from America's Most Wanted will be there. His son will be there. His daughter will be there. I'll be there, the mayor of the airwaves. And, of course, James Redmond's beautiful bride will be announcing. So you don't want to miss that, because she does it with such fluidly and liquidly, whatever the right word is, elegance.
Finesse.
Finesse. All right, this is the mayor of the airwaves. We've got to take a break. We'll be right back. It's not over yet.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Yes. I was thinking we'll walk out on my own. That's all the other day.
I was curious about how you got involved in this, Pat. I thought,
I thought I
So you ride too?
It's the white jeans is a polo
New
thing.
York, I don't have a dress.
Well, are you going to be able to come out on Sunday?
Yes, I will.
Oh,
I'll see you there.
yeah, very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
You have a beautiful voice.
Oh,
You could be
thanks.
on radio.
Thank you very much.
No, it's that nice,
Well,
deep resident voice. No, you
I'll
gotta
take
have
over
that.
from Rhett. I don't think I can get into the politics.
I wrote about Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And, I met Margaret Thatcher and interviewed
Did you?
her.
Yeah.
She was the most austere,
Yeah.
dominant,
I know.
sort of
I think that's
mean
why
lady.
people liked her, because they may not have agreed with her, but they respected her. That she
Oh,
just said, "This is what we're doing," and that's it.
But her intelligence was unreal.
I mean, like the whole Falklands thing. I mean,
James, thank
forget
you.
that. We're going to go down.
I know.
Thank you, Rhett. Come back here.
Mr. Walsh.
That's 562-8300.
Yeah, Mr. Walsh.
Always a pleasure.
That's the nerd. He made 12th at the Vero Beach Theater Guild, 562-8300. Someone in my family was diagnosed with serious cancer. I would hear always celebrated. That was the best treatment.
I don't have my big white beard and
You
my
actually
secret
you made a CD of them all? And now this will be the thing about CDs and this modern stuff is this has the clarity, even though it's a copy of a copy, it has the same clarity as if the recording studio.
Yeah. It's not like the old days where you used to take dub off a cassette to a cassette and then you lost quality, and then you dubbed again and lost quality. This still good quality. It all depends on where you get it from.
If you can bring us back any sooner, quick, because we run a little over.
Yes.
Come on,
Well, I
Beverly.
found a way to do it.
Okay, coming. You're a steady.
Thank you,
aren't you?
Shane.
And Rhett, like everything I do for you, I also have a second copy.
Brilliant, my boy, brilliant. This is you've never heard my gospel music. You've never heard my gospel music, have you?
Yes, I have.
I just got a call from Tennessee
wonderful.
yesterday. This lady who has my,
It's great.
she's 93 years of age, was listening to my patriotic radio. She said, "This is fabulous. Do you have any more of your music?" So I said, I do have some gospel. And she said, "Well, you'll probably forget this phone
Back in
call
25
when we
seconds.
hang up." And I said, "No, I'm going to use you as a catalyst. I'm going to put this out. I'm going to call Dismasters. I have the perfect picture, and I'm going to put my, even though I only make 100 damn copies of it. It's time to take action.
Exactly.
Look at you. You wanted to put out a book, you wrote it, and you put it out. This guy's putting a bunch of them out. He's here today. He wants me. I said, "You want to?" We're talking about putting out a book and
Yeah.
getting stuff accomplished. And he's here today with my script.
Yeah.
We should let Miss.
You're on.
Are we on? Oh, we're on, for heaven's sakes. Well, we're back. Okay. So, Mr. Walsh, how are you?
Wonderful.
Beverly?
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, we're having a great. Thank you for being here.
I can't complain as usual. It's wonderful.
Doesn't do any good to anybody, right? And of course, you, Mr. Erickson, are here, and we have another half an hour coming up after the news break. But we're talking about Mr. Trump today.
And Stanford Erickson's attitude when he went in to listen to the speech and how he felt after.
Yeah, I went to the speech thinking, he's been simplistic in what he's saying, and I was just trying to find out. Mike write an article about him in terms of sort of the silly things that
Is
he might
there
be
any
saying.
depth to him?
And there's any depth. And I came away saying, I agree with every statement that he says.
He finally gave a speech.
He finally gave a speech, and I think the vision, as you pointed out, the vision is an appropriate vision for our time. And believe it or not, Carly Fiorina, if you read her books, has the same vision. Now, Carly Fiorina is a daddy's girl, so she doesn't have the personality or to get across what Trump does. He has this wonderful mama's boy personality, and that's why you were attracted. But Carly Fiorina says in her book the same thing that Donald Trump says. Whether you like it or not, the mindset of both of those people are, how do we make and keep America strong so it can do good? And Barack Obama, in his books, his action since then is, how do we level the playing field with America? Well, if you level the playing field with America, guess what happens? ISIS happens. Russia happens. Whatever you think about America, America has been a boon, has been very useful to the world. But the rest of the world is envious, as you pointed out. They're just envious, and they don't like that, and they call us bullies.
Well, that's
done more good than
I
bad.
I do think Trump historically proves himself. He's done a lot of good, but will he stir up the pie, and will we be in more danger because of him? We'll talk about it when we return. Well, that's a teaser.
Teaser. Very good, Stanford. I think that Trump and Carly would be a good combination.
Oh, but it's not going to happen now because he said that stupid statement.
Well, if he can meet with that Megyn Kelly, give me
Meet with anybody.
what he'll say is, I've been looking at her face and it grows on me. I sort of like it. That's what he'll say. And I said, she has this smile about her. Really, I was wrong.
And she's brilliant.
Hey, who hasn't met somebody that was not very attractive, and then you got to know them, immediately went, wow, they're attractive and sexy because of what goes on. Their eyes.
When she was younger, she was attractive. She says has so much plastic surgery and Botox that the face doesn't work anymore. That's the problem. It's the Botox. You take pictures of her when she was young. She's a very attractive woman. But that Botox, you smile, you go like
Who
that.
are you talking about?
Carly Fiorina.
Oh, she has Botox.
Well, look at her. She see pictures when she was young. She's a very attractive, like you, very attractive lady. But if you keep doing plastic surgery and Botox,
I think that's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Frozen look.
That was Peggy. Was it Sally Field? Or was it one of those Meg Ryan? Who somebody had a lot of plastic surgery done and looks awful. Sally Field, I think.
Sally, the Botox freezes the face.
Yeah.
And so you can't smile. You can't make any expression. You know, and I was with Roger Moore. Roger Moore had so much plastic surgery
Really?
that when he smiled, it went like that.
No.
Oh yeah, the plastic surgery was unreal.
Isn't that awful?
A gorgeous man, but it was plastic surgery that made him gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Could you heat my coffee up? Could you put that in the microwave?
Okay, I'm getting my water and I'm getting my coffee.
But, you know, it'd be nice to have David talk a little bit about Trump has been a business leader and how being a business leader can prepare you to be a good president.
Yeah.
You know, you might ask David that question because I think that's what people want to know.
Do you know what? Do you know that Hillary Clinton has been getting $300,000 and $400,000 a speech? I was just over the other night.
300,000 and 400,000.
Yes. I was in town here. Do you know that General Petraeus, when he came to town, I interviewed him. He got I'm not supposed to tell anybody. He got 125,000. Yes.
That much?
Yeah. And when Bush was here, Bush W, when he came down, it was only a Q&A. 200,000.
Really?
Yes. All I want to do is be famous enough that I can charge money like that to come in and speak.
You know, I used to be with Dr. Kissinger, and he'd only get 50,000. It's really gone. I mean,
no, but that was way back.
That was way back. That was in the 90s.
It's outrageous.
It's outrageous now.
I always said, fame will secure your future. Right?
I spoke at the Quail Club free. I should have asked for 10,000.
Right.
1,000. $50. Come on. I'm good for $50.
Right. Right. And you're really missing the mark. You're really missing the mark. Okay, you did this, right? Now the next one, you do it my way. No, listen, take that headset off. Take the headset off. Listen to me. You did that.
Yeah.
And that lady influenced you. Fine and dandy. Now get to work on one just about Hillary with my title and see if it doesn't take you to the moon over the next year when she's running.
When she's running now.
This is watered down.
Yeah.
This is her idea.
Yeah.
My idea was just Hillary.
I know. But
now am I
better
right?
people than I have written about Hillary. Better people.
I'm a marketing guy. This lady wasn't a marketing. Why do people, just because she has a position with a publishing company, it's probably, was that a self-publishing company? What kind of company?
No, it's a real publishing company. But it's right at, the book is now with Fox, with their special edition people. So they might get me with Megyn Kelly. That's what they said. If that happens, I'm fine.
Instant sales, over 100,000 sales.
I know, but it's there. They put it there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Actually, you need to get on Rohannon or whatever he is. He has a national radio show at night. If you get on there, you'll be #1 on Amazon the next day.
I don't know how to get on that.
Well, that's what I should do, and I should charge people a lot of money to do it.
Well,
I should figure out how it's
if
done.
you can do that, I'll give you a percentage of what I sell.
Did you ever see what he's done on I Hate Politics? He should send that into one of the shows. Really, it's so funny. And
Oh, the video?
Now you do the song on Trump again. Do that.
Oh, this one, not mine, not Sick of Politics?
Do your song. Your song, no, song on politics. The Trump song.
Well, no, there's two different songs. Two different songs.
Oh, well, the one that just the Trump on the stump.
Okay.
I thought that was great.
Well, talking Donald Trump. He's back on the news, back on his stump, and I've got the Trump blues. Well, every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him with my big hand. Well,
Is he a ruse? No. Is he a ruse? No.
all right, the background singers can do that. You can do that. Can you all do that? Go, is he a ruse? All three of you.
Is he a ruse? No.
Okay.
Is he a ruse? No.
All of it, come on. Is he a ruse?
No.
Is he a ruse? No. at Donald Trump today, of course. And most of us, every time we want to like that man, he goes and spoils it all by saying something stupid like he did a million times before. But what can I say?
But not on the speech that he gave Wednesday. I thought it was an excellent speech.
Obama has not been a friend to Israel. He's treated Iran with tender love and care and made it a great power. Iran has indeed become a great, great power in just a very short period of time because of what we've done. All of the expense and all at the expense of Israel, our allies in the region, and very importantly, the United States itself. We picked fights with our oldest friends, and now they're starting to look elsewhere for help. Remember that. Not good. Fourth, our rivals no longer respect us. In fact, they're just as confused as our allies. But an even bigger problem is that they don't take us seriously anymore. Truth is, they don't respect us. When President Obama landed in Cuba on Air Force One, no leader was there, nobody, to greet him. Perhaps an incident without precedent in the long and prestigious history of Air Force One. Then amazing.
Now, what do you think of that? I mean, that just shows. I mean, I even saw the president of Syria say, "Oh, we don't pay much attention to their." It's just like what happened to me recently.
That's what, in other words, comparing what happened to the president of the United States.
Yes, human nature. So here's what happened. So we get a lot of jerks, actually a few jerks once in a while that don't pay their bills. And I've never sued anybody. And all of a sudden I realized, I said to Barbara, I said, I think the word's on the street that I don't sue. And I thought maybe it's time to change it, but I just kind of kept it under me. But anyway, so we've hired a company, a collection company with this one person. And this one person said to this person, this lady who got back to us, that he said, "Oh, Rhett won't sue me. He never sues anybody." Well, guess what? We have the attorney and we have the company, and I'm not going to be able to die saying I didn't sue anybody, because guess what? No more. Now, when you lay down the law, and then people will respect it. Now, our president has done the same thing on a much bigger scale. He laid down the law, he drew the line in Syria. Don't kill the women, don't kill the children of anything to do. It's terrifying. Now, I'm not an Obama hater or an Obama basher. If you've listened to my show over the past 8 years, I'm not. I actually want to like the guy. I am glad that a man of color got into office. I always wanted that to happen. Yes, I do have some liberal tendencies. I always wanted that to happen. I went to Africa with Coretta Scott King, blah, 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 read Booker T. Washington. And
we know you're liberal in your heart. We know that.
Well, but maybe a lot of us are, really. No. But anyway, the point being, I like Obama in many ways, but he's just not the president that we've needed. And I think a lot of us actually agree, because I know I'm shocked at the Democrats I run into, my Democratic friends that say, I just last night, once again, then this lady said, "No, I'm not voting for Hillary. I'm going to vote for Trump." And someone else on the beach of Jewish origin, and she said, "I wanted to go for Hillary, but I'm not. I'm going for Trump." So there's a big glut of these independents, and they don't marry the Republicans or the Democrats. They are independent. Maybe they have the strongest will. Maybe those of us who like to sequester ourselves under the authority, the guise of an umbrella of protection. Oh, I'm a Republican. Oh, I'm a Democrat. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. We like to pigeonhole ourselves and others. These are people who are more free thinking.
Well, one thing that Trump said, and I'd like David to speak to this, I've bought magazines, and Trump said, unless you're willing to walk away from the deal.
Yes.
And David, you've been in business
That's
all your life.
Absolutely the truth.
Oh, yeah. I walked away from more than one.
But isn't that true? You have to, when you enter negotiations, you have to approach it that way.
Absolutely.
In the art of the deal, he says you start high and then you have room to move. You never can start low and come up.
You can't. Nope.
That doesn't work. And you have to sometimes walk away from things. And
They say it's empowering.
The Iran negotiations were one giveaway after another. They just couldn't give away enough, and the other party knew it. And the thing about a business person, some people say that they are concerned that he might do something rash. He's a business person. When it comes time to writing the check, he's not going to write the check unless he knows he's going to get a return.
Absolutely, totally agree.
He's not going to pursue a course that doesn't have a positive result.
And this transfers from the people that are out there, the common people like myself. When I was younger, in my 20s, I went to a Toyota dealership. I had a Toyota. I had all kinds of problems with it. Well, it had to be towed back. And they said, well, this is going to be the towing cost. I said, I'm not going to pay the towing cost. You did that. Oh, yeah, you have to pay the. I said, you know what? I took the keys. I put them on the counter. I said, take my car. I'll see you later. Oh, Mr. Power, will you come back? I was willing to walk. Mm-hmm. When you're willing to walk and you mean it in earnest, and that's it. And so you're right on there. And Trump was right on.
That takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. And then, so for those out there, by the way.
It takes courage. Beverly's right. It takes courage.
I've seen people walk out the door and come back.
No respect. Absolutely no respect. Do you remember when the president made a long and expensive trip to Copenhagen, Denmark, to get the Olympics for our country? And after this unprecedented effort, it was announced that the United States came in fourth place. The president of the United States making this trip, unprecedented, comes in fourth place. He should have known the result before making such an embarrassing commitment. We were laughed at all over the world, as we have been many, many times. The list of humiliations go on and on and on. President Obama watches helplessly as North Korea increases its aggression and expands further and further with its nuclear reach. Our president has allowed China to continue its economic assault on American jobs and wealth, refusing to enforce trade deals and apply leverage on China necessarily to rein in North Korea. We have the leverage, we have the power over China, economic power, and people don't understand it. And with that economic power, we can rein in and we can get them to do what they have to do with North Korea, which is totally out of control. He has even allowed China to steal government secrets with cyber attacks and engage in industrial espionage against the United States and its companies. We've let our rivals and challengers think they can get away with anything. And
now, hold on a second. Is that really, that's not Obama's fault that these people have gotten into and that's not Obama's fault.
Well, does he have an aggressive program? I think he has a program. I don't know how aggressive it is. I don't know about that. But I do know that what he says about China is that he can negotiate with China to stifle North Korea. If he wants to, he can do it, and they are capable of doing so.
In terms of trade, China, right now, their economy is really, it says it's growing about 7%. Their economy, when it grows at 7%, is not growing because these are people that are, everyone's employed in the country. So everyone's employed in the country. So those numbers are showing everyone employed, but they're being paid by debt. Our debt are paying their people. So we absolutely have leverage. We have leverage in terms of this consumer market, and that consumer market, China can't put it anywhere else in the world. They cannot put it anywhere else. If we start saying we're going to ratchet up, we're going to put quotas, we're going to do things like that, that's a lot of leverage on China. And it's leverage that there could be a revolution in China. Every revolution starts when people get better and then it goes worse. Mm-hmm. Every revolution, history shows, every revolution doesn't start when things are bad. They start when things were better and now go worse.
Talking Trump, he's in the news. He's back on his stump, and I got the Trump blues. Every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him with the back of my big hand. But ooh, he's no rules. He ain't no rules. He's no rules. He's no rules. All right, now we're broadcasting from Royal Palmer Point today. That's right, 95 Royal Palmer Point. We'll be right back. Today's broadcast brought to you by Route 60 Hyundai and Center for Advanced Eye Care. Center for Advanced Eye Care, 5 eye doctors that genuinely care about your eye care.
Did you hear that?
Royal Palmer Point, my God.
Bigsby came up with that yesterday.
Oh, really?
They're gonna pick that song and put it everywhere.
You think that?
I think so.
You like it? Let's record it, right? We're running the commercial break because otherwise I'll forget it forever.
Yeah, you gotta
Okay,
record it and then send it to.
Okay, everybody listen now. And sing it. If you guys at the end could go, there's no rules. You too. We need the voices in the back there. Even if it sounds off key, it doesn't matter. Okay. Talking Trump. He's back in the news. He's talking on his stump. I got the Trump blues. Every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him upside his head with my big hand. Well, he knows I know rules. He's no rules. No rules, no rules, no rules, no rules, no rules, no rules, no rules. Well, talking Donald Trump, he's in the news. He's back on his stump. I got the Trump blues. Well, every time I fall for this man, he says something stupid. Wanna slap him upside with my big hand. But he's no rules. He's on no rules. With Trump, we can lose. No rules, no rules, no rules, no rules, no rules.
You don't want to slap him with your big flat hand when he's talking today on that speech. No, foreign policy speech.
You're not used to singing. It's so interesting. I put the headset on. Your commercial, the new Canon's very good.
Oh, I haven't heard it.
Oh, put the headset on.
You gotta
Is it on now?
No, it was.
No, you gotta.
Was it on this trip?
No,
Not on.
no. It was really very good.
Which one was it?
Volume
The
seems a little
latest
soft in my headset. Is that the
On
way this ad's on the air, or is it
CJ
just my
Cannon?
headset?
Oh,
The spot's a little lower than everything else.
Mhm.
Okay, let's do a new ad for Mr. Mantes today, when we get off the air.
Okay.
Or you or something. Now, I am thinking of this. I think this Trump thing's important. So I think if you can stay, anybody can stay. I want to go another half an hour about the Trump thing.
Okay.
Go to 10:30.
to go.
You have to go, okay. But you'll stay till, you'll stay.
Okay,
Hey, this is the mayor of the airwaves. We're back on the air. This is the mayor of the airways. How you doing? We got Mr. David Walsh in here. How you doing, David?
Mr. Donald David Walsh.
Mr. Donald David Walsh here. We're talking Donald Trump today, ladies and gentlemen. He is, he's got our ear, to say the least. And we have, of course, Stanford Erickson here, former White House correspondent, author of a new book. The title of the book is?
What kind of women can be president of the United States?
What kind of women?
What kind
Now ask him what title I wanted him to write, what I want him to write about. And he got some influence now, because now when Hillary's running, they're not going to care about that.
Well,
they want to know about Hillary. So
I write about Hillary.
You and I, we're working. Matter of fact, this next book we'll write together.
Okay.
How's that? All right.
They do.
However, the book you have is excellent.
It always happens.
Yes, it is.
If President Obama's goal had been to weaken America, he could not have done a better job. Finally, America no longer has a clear understanding of our foreign policy goals. Since the end of the Cold War and the breakup of the Soviet Union, we've lacked a coherent foreign policy. One day we're bombing Libya and getting rid of a dictator to foster democracy for civilians. The next day, we're watching the same civilians suffer while that country falls and absolutely falls apart. Lives lost, massive monies lost. The world is a different place. We're a humanitarian nation, but the legacy of the Obama-Clinton interventions will be weakness, confusion, and disarray. A mess. We've made the Middle East more unstable and chaotic than ever before. We left Christians subject to intense persecution and even genocide.
Absolutely, the genocide. Remember all those young students shot and killed? You know, we go on with our daily lives, shot and killed because of their belief in Jesus. You know, I mean, it is genocide. And I do believe Trump will put an end to it. I think he will find the right people. You know, we've all been watching. We all feel the same. We are all disgusted. We're all disappointed when Trump, as soon as you want to fall in love with him, I mean, everybody I know says the same thing. Yeah, they're voting for Trump, but then he goes and spoils it all by saying something stupid. And but when you listen to him now and you see what he's done in his past, you can judge a man what he'll do in the future, what he did in his past. And if we just go on what he did in New York City, look at these buildings. He knows how to put together teams. He knows how to choose people smarter than himself, and it's exactly what Reagan did.
Well, as a businessman, David, that's the key to a business, right?
No question about it. You have to have good people around you. You can't be all things. You can't be as knowledgeable about finance and agriculture and a host of things that the president has reign over. You have to bring in people who are expert in these various fields. And he will do that, I'm sure.
Beverly, you have a female?
Well, I'm outnumbered here. I'm still on the fence, but I know one man alone is not going to do it. I want to be sure that Congress would be there to help him implement what he wants to do.
Good point.
And we can never be sure that. I mean, look what the Congress has done with Obama. I mean, you know, we've been at a standstill.
What has the Congress done with Obama?
Not much.
He's got everything he wanted. He's got everything
because of
he wanted.
executive order.
Because of executive order and because of the fact that the Republican side of the Congress has never really stopped him. And certainly the Supreme Court has even got political instead of being legal minded. They're political minded.
James Clooney was on TV the other night. He said, "We've got to win this seat because we've got to get our man in there for the judgeship." And this could ruin America.
You mean the actor?
George
Clooney.
Saying we've got to, he's a Democrat.
Well, George Clooney spends most of his time in Italy. And he does that probably for tax reasons, but supports these policies.
$340,000 to go to the dinner per couple the other night?
Yes.
$340,000. Oh, well,
Wow.
just a little more than I could afford, so I didn't go.
Well,
it's outrageous. Hillary gets $400,000 a speech.
Trump's sister is a judge, federal judge. Did you know that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he mentions her once in a while. Mm.
Well, she probably wants to shut. Please don't mention me. You know what I mean? I mean, if I was Trump's best friend right now, I'd say, please don't mention me. But I hope I get a chance to meet this fella and interview him.
Siblings born of the same parents generally have approximately equal IQs.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was true in my family.
Well, it wasn't true in mine. My brother was a straight A student, was going to be a doctor, and I was always a C student.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with IQ, Rhett. You're very intelligent. It has to do with your energy level, which creates sort of a attention deficit. You have more energy than most people in the world.
Mhm,
So the mind keeps going. You're just so fast.
mhm.
And so that's why you say you got to focus, because you have such energy level.
Yeah, some people are very smart, but they're very boring.
Yeah, that's true. You were saying you were dating somebody who was like that, who was very successful. So was Barbara before when she was dating the president of a very famous food product. Let's put it that way. You would know immediately. 2 60-foot yachts, blah, blah, blah. I said, why aren't you still with him? Up at JI, she says, boring.
Jane Wyatt said,
Can't buy personality.
they asked Jane Wyatt why she divorced Ronald Reagan. She said, well, you know, when you ask him what time it is, he told you how to make a Swiss watch. So there was a quality of Ronald Reagan like that too.
Perfect quality though to be president.
Oh yes, yeah, a balanced individual.
You know, we never know what God is up to. Look at who's my favorite guy. Never in the course of history so few done so much for so many.
Mr. Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy who, first of all, was a late bloomer. Oh, Einstein didn't speak till he was 6. They thought he was a moron.
Right. That's right.
Edison, they also thought was an idiot.
Because he was deaf.
Right. But not Einstein. He was just slow to. Now this, who's the guy I just mentioned?
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill. He did not blossom till he was about 26.
Well, he had a very dominant father, and he was a mama's boy, and he was intimidated by his father. His father was very dominant, and it intimidated him. He did very poorly in school, but when he became a journalist and went down to South Africa, he was an absolutely brave individual, a hero, and he blossomed later when he was away from this father that just inhibited him.
And then later in life, they called him a fat pig, an old fart, literally. Get out, retire from Parliament. He said, don't sell those airplanes to Germany. They're up to something. Get out of here, you old fart. Retire. Thank God he didn't retire, for his greatest hour was yet upon him. We never know when God is forging the character in someone.
That's right.
And there's no doubt about it. If you study history, he saved probably all of us.
Yes, yes. He convinced.
I mean, not he alone, but
no, but he convinced Roosevelt to support him.
Thank God he did. We're going to do something unprecedented. We're going to carry on after the news and interrupt put aside Dr. Dobson today. So keep it right here. We will continue talking with the author of The Kind of Women Who Can Be President of the United States. He is Stanford Erickson. Where can they buy this book?
Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
The Stories of 8 Powerful and Influential Women. And I can't wait to read this. And I'm sure a lot of people out there get the kind of women who can be president of the United States of America. David Walsh, thanks for coming in today.
Always a pleasure.
We will be back with Stanford when we return. This is the Mayor of the Airways. Today's broadcast brought to you by Route 60 Hyundai and also Center for Advanced Eye Care. 5 eye doctors that genuinely care about your eye care. Center for Advanced Eye Care. Hey, who loves you, baby?
Are you leaving?
Yes, I'm leaving.
You gotta make money, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, David.
Hey, a pleasure, Stanford.
It was fun. This morning was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You underestimate yourself. You know, he does.
Well, part of him does and part of him doesn't. It vacillates.
Well, I'm only here.
Yeah, but part of him knows
You think
how
I
good he is.
underestimate myself? Well, why am I not making millions of dollars every year?
Mhm.
I think it'll come. I think that song. Can you get that song to Russ Lemon? Can you get Limbo? Can you get that song somewhere? Can you send that song somewhere? Your friends to.
The one we just wrote today?
Yes, where your friends will play it. Don't you have some radio personalities that play that song?
No, nobody else can sing it the way he
I know, but if he just sends the song to them and they play it,
Okay.
I think.
Why don't you ask some of your news buddy? What I'd like to do is take that song and Sick of Politics and send them to the news agencies. They could use them in different segments. You know how they put the music behind and.
The news agencies wouldn't do it because it is. They would do it if Russ did it, and then they'd make a spoof on it saying this is what I do. But if you could do that with Russ,
He has his own spoofs.
Was that on YouTube today?
I don't know if we're on YouTube or not. Are we on YouTube? Still? Oh, boy, we're talking all this stuff in this room. Everything we talk about goes on YouTube.
Oh, my goodness.
Did we say anything we don't want? Because we'll have them scrap it and it won't stay there.
No, I thought, I don't think we said anything wrong.
No, we didn't. We talked about the song and promoting it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But you're right in terms of Congress. I do believe, because Trump's used to working with people and negotiating. Barack Obama's never worked with people and negotiated in his entire life. And that's why he didn't get along with Congress, his party or the Republicans. So most people have been able to negotiate with Congress. He has not. The intimidated mama's boys, which is President Barack Obama, he gets intimidated. So he surrounds himself with flackies around him, especially women that agree with him. But if he deals with people who disagree with him, he freezes.
Okay.
He can't do that. So he becomes dominant and says it's going to be this way. It doesn't negotiate. Trump all his life has negotiated. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. Everything's negotiation. So he has to understand, like no one else, that you have to negotiate with Congress. Reagan could negotiate with Congress. How can you negotiate with Congress? There has to be a certain security in you as a person to say maybe someone else has a better idea.
But I thought Congress had a wall that absolutely refused to negotiate with him.
Neon light, and I think they're fried.
They will always negotiate. That is, I've covered Congress 20 years. No,
Which means
they know they have
put
to
it outside.
negotiate. There was no wall. What he did when he had both the Senate and the House controlled by Democrats, he didn't have to negotiate. But it still took him 2 years to get legislation passed because he couldn't even talk to these people.
Wiggles the door wrong.
Within 1,000 days, because Roosevelt had both the Senate and the House, he's passed like 50 bills within 1,000 days because he had the House and the Senate. It took Obama 2 years to pass this because he couldn't talk. When you have both houses, you don't have to negotiate. It still took him a long time because he couldn't even negotiate with his own party. He's never had to negotiate in his life. He never ran a company.
Stanford, 2 minutes. We're gonna do more on Trump, or do you want to focus on your book?
We can. I think Trump.
You're gonna stay, right?
I think Trump.
Here, I'll take that. You
I
stay
think
here.
that Trump is very good. I
You
think
want anything?
I'm gonna get my water.
I'll get your water.
It's over by my station.
I'll get it.
A station.
Yeah.
Talk to Stanford.
That's fine. When he goes and does that, I'll host the next hour. Chinese fire drill and all.
This has
It's good for my
been very
posture.
interesting. I can't understand why Trump hasn't spoken like this months ago.
What he says, I think, is he feels this is how he has won in the past, and he's going to just operate the way he's won in the past. Now he knows once he's there, he can't operate that way. When he's running a company, he can't operate
You
that way.
think so?
He's a mama's boy that's very intuitive in how to play the game. The mama's boys, Obama is the best campaigner. There's no one better than Obama in campaigning, better than Bill Clinton.
Well, Oprah Winfrey helped a lot.
Oh, yes. The women all take care of a mama's boy. Women, Trump, if he runs, will be elected because the women will vote for him. Believe it or not, the women will take care of Trump.
You think so, even though he's been so critical of women?
The women, you have a child, and that child is a difficult child for you. Where do you put your attention? On that child, not the child that's healthy. Where do you put your attention? On the child that's bad.
Yeah, they need it.
They need it. Trump needs your vote. Where are they going to put the vote? On Trump. When Ronald Reagan was running against Pat Brown, he was down 18 points, they said. He won by 18 points. Why? No one would say they're going to vote for Reagan because he's an actor. They just voted for him. No one's saying they're going to vote for Trump.
I know.
They just vote for him.
Sure.
You understand? I mean,
Yeah.
same phenomenon with Reagan. 18 points down on Pat Brown, and beat him by. No one could believe it because none of the surveys, when they said, "Are you going to vote for him?" Oh no, I wouldn't vote for him. They voted for him. And the women will take care of Trump. Believe it, the women will take care of him.
But I'm noticing, I flip from CNN to Fox. I go listen to both. And all of a sudden, I'm sensing that people from the Republican Party are really considering Trump.
Well, they have to.
I know it.
They have
What
to.
good fellas, you know.
They have no option.
Thank you. He's so good to me.
We're on.
He feeds me breakfast every morning.
How you doing?
You want me to close the door?
Sure. You caught me eating a Tootsie Roll.
Are we on?
We're on. Tell us a little about your book. What's the title of it?
The title, it's The Kind of Women Who Can Be President of the United States. And it basically, it's sort of the sequence to my first book, which Mama's Boys, Presidents, Why Do We Keep Electing Them? When I write these books, I'm trying to predict the kind of person, our country's in big trouble. I'm trying to predict the kind of people that we need to have running this country. And I wrote about 8 women in the 20th century who have been the dominant political influencers among women in the 20th century. Why do I call them courageous women? They're courageous women because men controlled the 20th century primarily. Up to 1921, the women didn't even have a vote. Now, as the women have gotten the vote, what have they done? The women have voted for Mama's Boys because women take care of the Mama's Boys. Now, you talk about Trump. Mr. Trump is a Mama's Boy. And the women...
Is he really?
Yes. The women will vote for Donald Trump. Remember Ronald Reagan, a Mama's Boy? When he was running against Pat Brown, he was down 18 points in California. No one thought Ronald Reagan would win, and he won by 18 points.
What about the things that Trump has said? Do you think that they look at him like a naughty little mischievous boy?
Yes, they have to take care of him. Women, if I asked Beverly this, I said, Beverly, you have 2 children. You have a child that's mischievous and not nice, and you have one that's pretty good. Where do you put your attention? What'd you say, Beverly?
I have to do the bad one.
You take care of the bad
You had
one.
2 boys.
Yes.
Is that the case? Did you have one that was? Oh, you had 3 boys.
Yes.
Now, how were they? What were the personalities?
So the one in the middle is sort of the rebel, who is very authentic. He says it as it is.
Like Donald Trump, right?
Okay, yes, that's a good way to put it.
And where did you put your attention?
I'm sorry, I don't think I could answer that.
Well, you love all 3.
Yeah.
Of course you love all 3.
Yeah.
But the one that had the problems is what the mother zeroes in on, right?
Oh, yeah, you have a point. Yes, you have a point.
You have 3 birds in a nest, and one won't eat. The others will eat. What does the mother do? She feeds the one that won't eat.
When a child comes home to the nest, whether it be 5, 15, 25, or 50 years of age, the mother instinctively says something's wrong with this one and needs to nurture it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not so much looking at a good or a bad side. I can identify the one in the middle because he's emotional like me. You know, he says it as it is. He talks about his feelings, and
that's what we call a mama's boy.
Okay.
The mama's boy. The mother always takes care of the mama's boy because they relate. I'm a mama's boy. My mother just said we have the same kind of mind. I just can identify. Abraham Lincoln's stepmother said of Abraham Lincoln, it's like we had the same mind. Mama's boy, Abraham Lincoln, mama's boy. Now, I wrote the book on the women because I wanted to show the good qualities of the women, the bad qualities. When I wrote the book, I wrote about Hillary Clinton. And I assumed in writing the book that Hillary Clinton was a daddy's girl because remember, Hillary Clinton said, what difference does it make how they died? Hillary Clinton's this tough, difficult lady. That's how she's been most of her career. As I studied about Hillary, Hillary and her mother had this unique, wonderful relationship. And she was a mama's girl, and her mother was a mama's girl. Her father, the problem is her father was a bully and mean and vicious. And so the mother taught Hillary to take on the father, you got to be tough. You got to take on the father and be tough. It's not her real nature. So Hillary has gone most of her political career masquerading as this daddy's girl when she's really a mama's girl, which is a nurturing, kind, considerate person. So when people see her, they say, she's not authentic. She's phony because she's pretending who she isn't. And we know people on a visceral level. We just know something's wrong there. It doesn't gel. It doesn't sound right. Because now the handlers this time understand that. And I know one of the handlers, and I told them that. And she's very influential in Hillary. And now they are running her as a mama's girl. She dropped Rodham. She used to be Hillary Rodham Clinton. Rodham was a tough mother in her father's family.
Right,
she dropped Rodham. Now she's Hillary. She talks about her mother, how much she loved. She talks about her grandchildren. She says, I'm going to continue the same programs as Mama's boy, Barack Obama.
So that's the softer side.
That's the
So you
real
feel
side
that's
of her.
really authentic.
That's who she is.
Mhm.
Now, the nice thing about Hillary, she's been in this world. There's good qualities about Hillary. She's been in this world. She knows it's a tough world. The best presidents are always the balanced people. Now, one would hope that Hillary can integrate this daddy's girl aspect that she's learned and the mama's girl and make them balanced rather than if she's conflicted and she goes back and forth. If you're conflicted, then her leadership will go back and forth. Obama is a conflicted person. So he acts tough and then he gets weak. He acts tough and then he gets weak. And that vacillation, he draws the line in the sand and then he changes his mind. That vacillation makes
Where
for
is your
bad
book?
leaders.
Yeah.
Oh.
Please. Not when we're doing the show. Okay. I'm looking for the book. Go ahead. Continue talking.
Okay. But so Hillary, there might be hope for Hillary in terms of that if she can learn to integrate the two, the best presidents integrate. The Abraham Lincoln, mama's boy, didn't go to his father's funeral, hated his father. When he became president, he understood that his father made him tough, made a man up, be honest, direct, and he started to appreciate that his father prepared him to be president. His last child he named after his father, the father that he never went to the funeral, the father that he did not like. He would not answer letters that his father sent him. His father was very proud of him, would not answer letters, said, we just don't get along. He named his last child after his father because he knew the father prepared him to handle a civil war that was terrible. He says to his friend, he said, I could not wring the neck of a chicken when I was young. He said, it bothered me so much. And I am sending thousands of people to be killed. He said, can you imagine the person who could not wring the neck, but I'm doing what I think is right. And it's what he thought his father thought was right.
Mm-hmm.
So you take Donald Trump, mama's boy. How is he a mama's boy? Donald Trump has a father who's very difficult, dominant daddy's boy. The mother wants to protect him. The father says, no, we got to get him to man up. The father says, let's go to military school. They sent him to military school in Connecticut so he'd man up. What did the mother do? She said, well, he's not going to board there. He's going to board at our house. So she sent him in a limo to the boarding school in a limo to take him home. The mother arranged that. Now, imagine Donald Trump coming to a boarding school where all these guys are there, and they see him come in a limo. Now, how do you think they treat him? They treat him viciously. Now, what has he learned to do? He learned, if you attack me, I'm going to attack you twice as bad. He became this juvenile type who attacked them even more viciously. He manned up. He took them on. He's doing the same thing in elections. When someone takes him on, he attacks back twice as much. Where did he learn that? He learned that in boarding school to survive. Now, I'm not condoning that. I'm just explaining that.
But I think the psychological factor, does that give us a better understanding of the candidates?
To predict somebody, the CIA has done this all their life. They want to predict how people will act. I was part of some RAND institution. I don't know if it was run by the CIA in terms of the creative scenario an operation and how people would react. And when I write these books, I'm trying to predict how people would react. When Obama was elected the second time, I wrote a column in the Press Journal, and I said he will double down. He won't get better. He'll be even worse on the second term than he did on the first. And everybody said, oh, no, he won't be like that. Absolutely, he doubled down. So I actually predicted how he would act in the second term. In terms of Donald Trump, it's difficult to predict because there's a conflict between his mama's boy, this nurturing part. His children love him, so he must be very nurturing of them. Remember, he talks about Barron. He tells Barron, I tell him, eat in small little pieces. Remember, Governor Kasich eats pancakes with this big mouth. He doesn't know how to eat in small, but he tells his child how to eat. What daddy's
Does
boy?
one of his child have a proclivity for overweightness?
No, but he's just trying to groom them. He's a mama's boy. He's nurturing his children. The children love him. You get the children, if he was a daddy's boy.
Well, why does he say stupid things like, would you want to wake up to the face of college for Fiorina? I mean, that just really still echoes in my mind because it's something I would never say. It's unkindness.
I agree with that, but as I explained,
why did he do that?
As I explained, when he gets in survival mode, when he was in boarding school, he's in survival mode. When he gets in survival mode, he attacks. Hillary Clinton's very similar. When she gets in survival mode, what difference does it make? Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
Okay, so I want to get my interview with Donald Trump. And I get my interview with Donald Trump. How do I react? And this will sound manipulative, but so be it. What will I say to him that will want him to make me embrace me as a friend? For instance, when I met, who's the famous boxer that bit the ear? Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Now, Mike Tyson was in town for training. And I had prayed, actually, that I would get to meet him. Why? So I could tell him about the Lord. I said to my Lord, I said, I don't care if I get the interview. I'd like to have the interview, but that's not. I'm praying to you that I meet him so I can tell him about Jesus, Now, and by the way, after I did do the 2-hour interview with him at his house, which he personally invited me to, we turned off the mic and he did say the salvation prayer with me, just so you know.
Wow. He's a very intelligent man.
Very intelligent. But what happened is I ran into him at they used to have video stores here, Blockbuster. And I went in, going into a Blockbuster during the day to me was like going into it was like reading pornography. It just seemed dirty. I go there at night to rent movies, but really, a lot of our movies, would you play them at the local church? Would you let the pastor know what you watched last night on Sunday morning? Would you watch Saturday night at your house? Anyway, so I go into the video store and I decided I'm going to drop it off. I drop it off. And then, unlike my normal personality, I start looking. So it's very unusual. It's probably the only time that I went into a Blockbuster during the day, I bet you. Maybe there might have been 2 other incidents in, 30 years of being an adult. Anyway, so all of a sudden I look and there is Mike Tyson. And I said, hey, Mike Tyson, blah, blah, blah.
A gift from God.
And I meet him. Okay. And then he goes his way and I go my way. And I'm looking around, he's looking around. And then I bumped into him again. I said, I just want to let you know this. If the fame ever becomes chains, do what Billy Graham said to do. Deflect, like a mirror in front of you. When they give you the praise, just deflect it up to heaven. Let him have the glory, and you're free to just be the man you are. Something like that. And he just said, wow, oh, I like that. And he says, I tell you what, we're going to do that interview. So anyway, he called me 2 hours later and invited me up to his house on the beach. And I got the interview. Well, I said the right thing to connect with him. So when I meet Donald Trump, I have some ulterior motives. Yes, I would. First of all, I don't want it to be a typical interview. I don't want to talk about specific issues because they will come and go. I want to get some essential portion of his character that maybe other people are dismissive of, or just negligent, or don't have the talent to bring it out of him. But I also want him to actually like me. Of course, he'd be a great ally to have. And I did vote for him in Florida, and I will be voting for him again. So as long, I don't, depending on what he does, he's just, every time I want to love him, he says something stupid. But anyway, so how will because you do all the psychology stuff, you've written this book, The Kind of Woman Who Can Be President of the United States. What will I say to him
well,
that would engage him,
first,
would like me?
First, you have to get access to him. And you know who can give you access to him in this town? Toby Hill. Toby of the Hill Group. Toby Hill, who created the Tea Party here.
Perhaps.
Toby Hill has access because Toby Hill gives money to all these Republicans. If you ask Toby Hill to do something like that, Toby Hill's a very gracious, nice man in many ways. If you asked him in a kind way, if you could meet, interview Donald Trump, I bet he could arrange
that. I'm not worried about. But by the way, here's the truth. Every time I've gone after somebody, I've gotten them. Every time somebody else has said they'll get somebody for me, it's never worked.
Oh, maybe so.
They don't have the drive. They don't have the want to. There's nothing in it for them. Now, if there was something in it for them, you might. Even that. I promised one local kid $5,000 if he got me Bob Dylan, and he still hasn't. You know.
My question to him: when you die, what would you like to have on your gravestone?
Yeah. You know, it's about this thing you said where he got angry at Carly Fiorina. Now I know that emotions are like children. We should not stuff them into the trunk, but we also should not let them drive the car. Okay. So what you're telling me is that Donald Trump is an emotional individual. He is a mama's boy. And so you're saying the reason he struck out at Carly Fiorina is he learned long ago when he gets into attack mode, it is to protect his mode. He's going to succeed at all costs.
Yes.
So one thing you need to do if you're going to meet Donald Trump is let him know you are not an enemy and you are not in the way of his vision.
Absolutely.
But that you are a conduit or a helpmate somehow of that occurring. How do you communicate that in the brief time you first get to meet him, so it ends up being multiple times, maybe even you work with the guy?
I don't think you have to worry about that. I think Donald Trump is his fine instrument that's extremely intuitive.
So he'll connect with my mama's boy hard.
His mama's boy will connect with your mama's boy on a visceral level, and he can read you better than you maybe can read him.
I'm sure. Smart man.
It's not smart. He has this intuitive instinct. John le Carre, in writing the book, Tinker Tailor Soldier's Spy, he said the best spies are these mama's boys that are sort of frightened, and they stand by the wall and they watch and they watch and they watch, and pretty soon they understand how people operate, and then they can manipulate them. They can intuitively know.
Which is precisely what I'm attempting to do, because, I mean, to be forthright, sure, if I get the chance to do Donald Trump, I'm going to want to manipulate that into a future better relationship.
But I assume.
Maybe manipulation is a bad word. It's a pejorative term, but.
Well, I assume that he is a violin in terms of intuition. Because
you can play it harshly or you can play it sweetly.
Yes, and you are more of a cello. but both nice instruments, both string instruments. Donald Trump has been extremely successful because he has this intuitive gift. He knows exactly how to hurt everyone. You don't know instinctively how to hurt everyone.
And I wouldn't want that.
I know.
I wouldn't want it to hurt me.
But I instinctively have that kind of gift too. I know exactly. Ask my two wives. First one died, second one. If you take me on, I'm quiet. You take me on a little bit, I know exactly how to hurt you so much that you just stop. And Donald Trump has that gift. And mine comes being a mama's boy and being a watcher.
Actually, I have that. I just don't engage it like I used to when I was younger.
You sass.
But I tell you what, when somebody was before me and they're my enemy, you know.
I try not to engage it now.
Still can try to emerge at times here because you don't want to cut people, because when you cut people with words, it endures forever.
Forever. And I became a Christian when I was 33. I worked very hard not to do that. I try not to engage it. You
Yeah, I
know?
bet you can think of something. I remember I was in a parking lot. Now, I'm a little heavy now. I was not really heavy at this time, and yet I was starting to get a little belly in my, early 30s. And so I was in a parking lot in upstate New York near Woodburn, near Liberty, over near where Woodstock Nation took place. And I'm with a pastor and his wife in the back seat. And some guy, like I'm coming into a parking lot, and my van is a little wide. But anyway, this guy rolls down the road and says, "Move over, you fat," and he uses the F word, "You fat." And I thought, well, thanks a lot. I will remember you for the remainder of my days. And I still remember that guy. It's 25 years later. He spoke that, you know what I mean? Someone told me when I was young, your mouth's going to get you in trouble one day. Your mouth's going to get you in trouble one day. And you know what? It ringed in my head every day for 55 years until my local counselor friend said, "Oh, is that the same mouth that got you with presidents of the United States? Is that the same mouth that got you with Garth Brooks? Is that the same mouth that got you with Tommy Lee Jones? Is that the same mouth that got you prospered?" Oh, and I've never thought about it. He set me free from those chains. But the power of words, we have to watch them.
Well, Donald Trump, the same thing.
Good. You're right.
Is this a break or are we out? Is it over?
With this break, you're done.
My mother used to say sticks and stones would break.
Okay, let's talk about your book now and what we should do.
Oh, I know what we should do. Let's get her to read it.
Okay.
Read one.
My book.
Your
It's
book.
only how many pages? 45 pages, something stupid. It shouldn't even be a
These
book
are
yet.
changes he made, but don't lose this. I've made all the changes. I can send it to you on email if you like.
Well, she can read it right now. She'll read it right now. It'll take her 5 minutes. Let her read that while
Oh,
we're there.
it's a long book.
No, it's not.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's his book.
You want to read it? See what you think?
I will read it, yes. In fact, this afternoon, I'm meeting with my
Oh,
co-author.
we can't let you take this with her. But because something could happen to her. How about we have maybe
I can email it to her.
would you mind to get it in email? Will you read it when he emails it to you?
Sure.
I think I have your email. Give me your card again. I think
Does she have your book yet? Because she will read it.
I gave her a book.
Did you read it yet?
Oh, yes. In fact, I wanted to talk about Eleanor Roosevelt.
She was something else. She's a great lady.
Oh,
She saved FDR. He would never have been.
Do you want to
president.
come next door with us? We're going to get a little sandwich over here, my treat.
Yeah, but let's talk about how we.
Okay, the three of us will go. Let's
I
go.
got to clean up.
No, there's nobody coming in today, right? It's Friday. We'll do this later. Let's go eat because then I've got other people coming. I forget. Let me
Okay,
see my
you want
calendar.
your water, Stanford?
Okay, thank you. Give my cup. Put it
Sure.
away.
I'll take care of it.
I'm just going to the men's room. Crazy.
Mhm.
So we're here to help you guys with skin cancer surgery and general skin care. Come
What
visit
would
us.
you want in the grave, Stanford?
You need to go to dermatology. Our phone number is 321-951-1010.
What would you want on the grave, your grave?
Jesus was truly his Lord.
Okay. You really believe that?
Now, it says Trish can see these. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. You may stop in, you may not. We'll be next door. Let's go get our breakfast.
You want the coupon?
But I gotta, huh? Yes, bring a coupon. Get two of them. Aaron,
For all your real estate needs, who should my listeners trust?
Hi, we are the Gibson girls.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
mom and my
Yeah,
name is Gib.
that's fine. I was just curious.
Okay.
And then who am I looking for in case it's someone from TV Bank?
Yeah, some lady named Trish. Hold on, let's go through these.
Within 20 years of real estate experience, we put you first.
TV
Call
Bank.
us. The Gibson
I
girls.
also noticed this message keeps popping up that you need to call the Space Center.
6869. That was 772.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Call Mike Gould. Call Mike Gould.
Got another great gift idea. Ride the Air Golf Tour. You are gonna love it. Get ready for the ride of your life. It is. Broadcast made possible by donations from Sports Magazine, the Greenhouser family, and good folks like you. To keep Dr. Dobson on the air, please support us. Send a non-tax deductible gift to P.O. P.O. Box 3342, Vero Beach, Florida 32964. Or call us here at Vero's Voice Magazine, 772.
What time is Lily coming in? 8? Okay, that's good. We'll get her in, we'll get her
Your
out.
call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Today's
7
broadcast
7
is brought to you
2
in part by
6
Center for
9
Advanced Eye
6
Care.
0
Five eye
2
doctors
2
that genuinely
9
care about your eye care.
is not available.
Dr. Kadana Day.
At the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Advanced Eye Care.
Hello, Mike. I want to be very firm about this. I absolutely need my car tonight by 5 o'clock. I got to have the horn working. I've got to have the gas leak fixed. I've got to have this. This is very important. These people are big sponsors out at the polo field. I've got to drive that car out there. So please respond to this message, okay, Michael?